February and March and made one payment.
I was also helping my stepdad get to work, so there has to be some form of compensation.
There's a reason you got your last car repossessed. You got this car repossessed because you didn't make the payments. There's a trend here.
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Epiphany Austin is suing her stepfather, Willie Sanders, for the return of car payments and repair costs, plus punitive damages for a false police report.
Order. All rise. This is case number 215 on the calendar in the matter of Austin versus Sanders.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat, huh?
Miss Austin, Mr. Sanders is your stepfather.
Correct, ma'am.
This is your mom?
Correct.
How old are you?
I'm 31.
There came a time when you needed a car, and your stepfather told you that if you wanted to, you could take over the payments on his 2007 Lexus. Is that what it was? That you would purchase when, sir?
September 1st, 2017.
And when did you make this offer to your stepdaughter?
Sometime in August.
For that?
Your Honor, no, I had not had a car.
You had a car?
The majority of 2017.
I'm talking about ever.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Cars that you purchased?
Absolutely, yes.
Did you make payments on those cars?
I did.
Give me an idea of what you made in payments on those cars.
Maybe like $300 to maybe $400 in payments.
Were any of those cars repossessed?
Yes.
How many of them were repossessed?
One of them.
And when was that car repossessed?
April of 2017, I believe.
And it was repossessed because you weren't making the payments on it?
That's correct.
Why weren't you making the payments on it?
At that time, I was with my daughter's dad, and he was actually assisting me with making payments. Once him and I broke up, he stopped making payments for her altogether. So I took on full ownership as a single mother. And once I had on that bulk of responsibility, I couldn't make that high payment any longer.
And what was that car payment?
That car payment was like $450.
So you really needed a car?
That entire year, I definitely needed a car.
Great.
Absolutely.
So in October, your stepfather said, if you want to take over the payments of this car that I recently bought, it's an older car, it's 10 years old, how much were the car payments on that car?
I made approximately $400 in payments to him a month.
$400 to him or to the bank?
The loan was in his name, so even though I may go up there and make it on his behalf, it still was under him.
I'm asking you whether you made the payments to him or whether you made the payments
them to the bank. I've actually walked to the loan company or mailed them. Correct.
And you got the car in November?
I did.
And the payments were $400 a month, sir?
$371.
So about $80 less than what you were paying on the $450 car that was repossessed.
Correct.
And you got the car in November?
Correct.
So did you make December's car payment?
I did not make December's car payment to the bank.
Did you pay in January?
I did not.
Did you pay in February?
I did.
How much?
$400.
Did you pay in March?
I did not pay in March, but I made March payment.
What does that mean?
In April, I actually made a payment for March, April, and May.
No. Follow where I'm going. In March, did you or did you not make a payment in March?
Not in March.
So now you've driven the car December, January, February, and March, and made one payment in February.
That is correct, as far as payments are concerned.
April, did you make a payment?
Yes.
How much?
$1,200.
So now you are caught up December, January, and March, correct?
My stepdad and I had an actual barter agreement that went deeper than actually making the $400 payments alone. He didn't actually offer me the car as a, you don't have a car, so let me allow you to have this car. The car was given to me because him and my mom have an odd relationship.
Listen, this odd relationship, go on Dr. Phil, if he wants to go with you. I'm figuring out you had an arrangement where you were supposed to make car payments. You had the car in December, you didn't make a payment. You had the car in January, you didn't make a payment. You made a payment in February. March, you didn't make a payment. In April, you made a $1,200 payment, which takes you current for December, January, and March. Now, did you make a payment in May?
No, because in April, that was the payment for...
No.
Well, I understand what you're saying, Your Honor.
It was not. Did you make a payment in June?
No.
Did you have the car in June?
Yes.
Did you make a payment in July?
I did, yes.
How much?
for $320.
$320.
Correct.
August.
August is when he took the car back.
So let me understand this. You had the car December, January, you made no payment. You made a payment in February. March, you made no payment. In April, you made a payment of $12, which brought you then current for December, January, and March, leaving April unpaid, May unpaid, June unpaid, and you owed money in July because you didn't make the full payment. That's what you just told me. Now, you want to tell me you have the car 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 months equals $2,597. That's what you should have made in payments.
Well, Your Honor, we had an agreement,
Just a second. You made $1,920 in payments. And you should have made $2,597 or $2,600 in payments. What are you suing for?
Because, again, Your Honor, him and I had an oral agreement that if I was not able to make, again, the car was only given to me because of the fact...
Listen to me. I don't want to hear the nonsense that you put in here. Do you understand? I'm not interested in the nonsense that you put in your complaint about your mother and you wanting to watch over your father, wanting to know where he was and what he was doing. I'm not interested.
Okay.
You had a car, you were driving around in the car, and you were paying for the car.
I was also helping my stepdad get to work. I was also picking him up, gas, taking him to work every day. So there has to be some form of compensation for that as well. Or that was our bartering oral agreement that we had. For the times when I could not make a car payment, I'd communicate with him, and I also was responsible for taking him to and from work. Regardless of keeping up with him, that's not my concern. It's just the fact that I did put the effort in, and I followed the agreement as we had described with one another.
Yeah.
I stayed honest with it, and I communicated with him.
You think about it in terms of, you rented a car for 7 months. You paid $271 a month for the 7 months that you had the car. That's what it comes down to. That's what you pay to drive around in a relatively nice car. And then you didn't make payments. You didn't make payments most of April, May, and June, and July. You came up short. Ridiculous.
But, Your Honor, the people who I would rent the car from, I wouldn't be doing anything for them either. So,
There's a reason you got your last car repossessed, because you didn't make the payments. And you got this car repossessed because you didn't make the payments.
No.
There's a trend here.
Well, actually on August the 6th, I got my car repossessed because I wouldn't take my mother to Publix. Up until this point, me and Willie had pure correspondence. He never said he was going to repossess the car. He never told me he was taking the car back. If my loan company told me they were going to take the car back, they called me and they let me know that was going to happen. So I was aware of that.
Just a second. It's not your loan company. Is your name on the loan?
Exactly, it's not. But we do have text messages.
Is your name on the loan?
No, it is not.
Do you have a job?
Yes, I do.
What kind of job?
I promote for computer processors.
Do you do that on a weekly salary basis?
I get paid every 2 weeks.
How much?
How much I get paid every 2 weeks, or how much an hour?
Are you paid by the hour?
I'm paid by the hour.
Great. Do you work?
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of work do you do?
I'm a chemical operator.
And you get paid weekly, bi-weekly?
Bi-weekly.
So when you don't make a car payment to the bank on his behalf, that's not on your credit. That's on his. When you don't pay April, May, June, shortchange him in July, don't catch up, that's all on his credit, not on yours. You can't get credit because you already had a car repossessed, so nobody's going to give you a whole bunch of money. You have,
But Your Honor,
you have no case, period.
Now,
you drove a rental car for $271.
I'm also suing him for the punitive damages for the false police report. Because the day of the repossession for no payment, he called the police and said that I was assaulting my mother when he was repossessing the car, which I had no aware. I was coming to pick him up so he could even go to work because they didn't have the ability to get to work. They didn't have a car to get there. I was the driver, the taxi driver. So not only am I a promoter at work, I'm also a taxi car driver. But now you're saying I should do it for free.
Take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. If you had your own car, you wouldn't be responsible for taking your stepfather to work, running errands for your mother. Take care of yourself. You're a 31-year-old woman. Do whatever you have to do.
But
you have a counterclaim for what?
I'm counterclaiming because of the late payments and the payments she didn't make and that I had to make, and then plus she didn't put insurance on the car.
Just forget the insurance.
Okay.
Forget that. How many months did you have to make up during the time she had the car?
I made 3 months.
Well, let's figure it out. She had the car for 7 months. So $25.97 is what she should have paid. She actually paid $1,920 in payments. $677. Drove the car, what she was supposed to have paid, and what she did pay. $677. Judgment on the counterclaim. We're finished. Thank you.
Okay, what about the repairs that I made for the car, Your Honor, and the false police report? I have a police statement.
Bye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I mean, it was just a sensitive issue that we just definitely needed a judge to mediate with.
I guess she felt like she was right.
It wasn't something that we could work out on our own.
I guess it was something between the mom and daughter.
I mean, I know we'll move forward. We're family.
Oh, they'll be fine. It'll be fine.
I am kind of glad it's over.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Castillo versus Nadine Dominguez. Step forward.
Ekaterina Castillo is suing dog salon owners Rachel Nading and Diana Dominguez for vet bills after a groomer at their salon cut her dog's nails too short.
Ms. Castillo, how long have you been using the defendants as dog groomers?
Since 2010, Your Honor.
So how many times do you think in total you've used the defendant's services to groom your dog?
Every month since 2010.
That's a lot of time. So you haven't had any difficulty, because you wouldn't have taken your dog back if you had any difficulty, correct?
Yes.
This last time, it is your claim that the defendant, I don't know, which ultimately caused an infection, which ultimately caused that digit to have to be amputated.
Yes, Your Honor.
Not the foot, but just the little digit. And you want them to be responsible for the vet bills. That's
Yes,
what the
Your Honor.
case is about.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
It doesn't say what the cause of this nail was. It just said it was infected.
The nail was removed.
I know that, but you have to connect that to the defendants. You took the dog in 2 weeks later.
I can explain, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Ekaterina Castillo says dog salon owners Rachel Nading and Diana Dominguez are responsible for vet bills after a groomer injured her dog.
Now, who actually did the grooming on the dog?
One of our employees.
Where is that employee?
She is at work right now.
Why?
We had to be here since we are the owners.
Well, you could have one owner and the employee who actually did the work.
That's true.
Well, why didn't you do that?
I'm not sure, Your Honor.
Were you there when the dog was groomed?
I was there, I mean, not physically watching every second, but I
Well,
was taking...
That's what I need. I need somebody who was physically there, watching every second.
Yes.
She wasn't there.
No.
Where do you come from?
Marina Valley.
Drive here? Mm-hmm. I don't understand why you didn't bring the dog groomer. Bizarre. On what date did you take the dog?
June 15.
That was the last visit?
Yes, Your Honor.
And when you picked the dog up from the groomer, did you have a conversation with anyone?
Usually I just pick up the dog.
Picked up the dog and paid it? Mm-hmm. On what date did you take the dog to the vet?
I take dog to the vet on June 29 in the morning.
2 weeks later?
Yes.
Why?
Because I don't see the nail was infected.
When did you first see that there was a problem with the nail?
June 28 in the evening, and next day in the morning, I immediately take him to the doctor.
So the first time you saw the dog with anything wrong was 2 weeks after the grooming?
Yes, Your Honor.
How many dog groomers do you have?
Ourselves, and then we have 2 more.
How many times have you personally groomed this dog?
Gosh, a handful of times, maybe.
How many
maybe
times
more.
have you personally groomed this dog?
Probably more than 20.
The name of the groomer who groomed the dog that day?
Monica.
How long has Monica been working for you?
About 2 years.
How many times has Monica groomed the plaintiff's dog?
About 5 times or so, maybe.
She a full-time employee?
Yes.
I'd like to see the initial report from the vet. This isn't the initial report from the vet. This is in September. I'm looking for the initial report from the vet. Where is the initial report?
This is have from June 29 and the September 4th.
I'm not interested in September 4th. June 29th. It says medication. It says to keep the dog bandaged. It doesn't say what the cause of this nail was. It said it was infected, which is, I assume, why you were given an antibiotic.
The nail was removed.
I know that, but you have to connect that to the defendants. You took the dog in 2 weeks later.
I can explain, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
The nail was broken. It was a little crack, so I don't see it.
It was just a little crack, so you didn't see it, so you didn't see anything. You can't tell me what you didn't see. What I'm telling you is you're guessing.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Ekaterina Castillo says dog salon owners Rachel Nading and Diana Dominguez are responsible for vet bills after a groomer injured her dog.
It doesn't say what the... I know that, but you have to connect that to the defendants. You took the dog in 2 weeks later.
I can explain, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
Infection was, I have the pictures. So
Don't
infection...
show me any pictures. I want to know if there was something wrong with the dog's nail when you brought it back from the groomer, why you didn't take it to the vet. And if you say to me, I didn't see anything wrong until the 28th of June.
Yes.
And you took the dog right in on the 29th of June.
Yes.
You still have to connect what was wrong with the dog with the groomer.
The injury was really small. I don't think I see this when I check it.
You still have to connect. The dog walks around. I have dogs. Sometimes a dog's nail breaks. Sometimes they step on something. Sometimes they fracture. I just need a connection between what happened on June 15th and what you saw on June 28th. The doctor doesn't say that unless I'm missing it.
I can explain
You can't explain it to me unless it's in here.
The infection was already big when I see this, and it's like about 2 weeks.
I have no idea, and you're guessing. You haven't put together the infection 2 weeks later and anything that was done at the groomers. You have to put that together. Just because the dog got an infection doesn't mean they're responsible.
The nail was broken a little bit by the nail bed, so the broken nails. So it was a little crack by the nail bed. So I don't see it. I see it only when it shows up.
You're guessing. What I'm telling you is you're guessing. It was just a little crack, so you didn't see it. So you didn't see anything. You can't tell me what you didn't see. What you told me was the dog was groomed on June 15th. You didn't see anything wrong with the dog until 2 weeks later when you took the dog to the vet.
Yes.
Now I'm telling you that unless this report says, because there's no vet here, that the infection was caused by somebody clipping the dog's nails or some other reason, they're not responsible for your vet bills, because it could have happened anywhere. 10 days before, 9 days before, 8 days before, 7 days before. It could have happened anytime. Could have had a problem and got infected because dogs walk in the street where it's dirty and there's bacteria. I can't put that on the groomers.
The dog, inside dog, he don't go outside, only in the backyard.
I try to explain it to you. If I can't explain it to you any better, I'm sorry, Ms. Castillo. Your case is dismissed.
Can I give you some picture to take a look for you understand?
Just a second. Did you take any pictures of the dog on June 15th?
Continues in a moment.
Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Did you take any pictures of the dog on June 15th?
Not on June 15th.
Did you take any pictures of the dog on June 16th? No. 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th, 21st, 22nd, 23rd, 24th, 25th, 26th, 27th. I'm not interested in you showing me pictures of the dog's injury 2 weeks later. It's not relevant. You haven't proved a connection between the dog's injury and something that they did wrong. And that's what you have to prove.
Because this infection right about the 2 weeks.
We're done. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
What's wrong with it?
It is saturated with oil.
The tarps are $99 a piece.
The bill for a bouncy house made Mom...
How much money?
$2,650.
Judge Judy.
I think she was very fair, and
This is judge decision, so I agree with this.
obviously we didn't do anything, so I'm very happy with the result.
But I still think like I can prove a connection.
She said
this was about 2 weeks already here.
we found out 3 months later.
This why it's called amputation, because infection was so deep.
I can't say what she was up to, but
Be very careful and check your dog all the time, because vet tell me
I mean, it wasn't anything that we did.
that's very common to dog after groomers come to clinic with injuries.
We're glad the dog's okay and he made a full recovery.
You are in the business of renting bouncy houses, stuff for kids' parties.
A party rental didn't bounce his way.
What do you claim was damaged? What's wrong with it?
It is saturated with oil.
The tarps are $99 a piece.
But his bill made this mom jump.
He took money from your card.
Yes.
How much money?
$2,650.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Party rental company owner Thomas Carangella is suing former client Mercedes Austin for damage to a bounce house and other carnival items.
Order. All rise. It's case number 188 on the calendar in the matter of Carangella versus Austin.
Thank you.
Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
Mr. Carangella, you are in the business of renting bouncy houses and stuff for kids' parties.
Correct.
How long have you been in that business?
Been in business 4.5 years.
Did you buy the business from someone, or did you start it yourself?
I started myself from ground up.
Did you buy the equipment new or used?
I buy it new.
And recently, you were hired by the defendant to provide certain equipment for her daughter's birthday party.
Correct.
When was the party to take place?
July 14th, 2018.
And the equipment was supposed to be set up in your backyard?
No.
Yes, it was supposed to be initially set up in your yard.
When I first paid, I told him that I wanted it set up in my backyard, but we couldn't because the space to get into my backyard is about this wide.
Pay careful attention to me. When you first spoke to the plaintiff about renting his equipment, you said you were setting it up in your yard.
I wanted to.
Correct.
It was never
Correct.
confirmed.
That's where you wanted it set up, in your yard. Was it the day that the stuff was delivered that you found that it couldn't go in your yard?
No, ma'am. It was probably about a week later after I talked to the other event, Ferris wheel, train, and airplane ride, and they Google mapped my house and they said there's no way we can fit this stuff back there. So I called him and told him.
The party was on the 14th.
Of July.
On what date did you call the plaintiff and tell the plaintiff that instead of putting it in your yard, it was going to be put in the street?
Around June 30th.
So 2 weeks before the party?
Yes, ma'am.
What?
No, that's not true,
On
Your
what
Honor.
date do you say she called and let you know that the party was going to be in the street?
She didn't tell us until the day we got there.
Lies.
Don't talk back and
Excuse me.
forth. You say in your answer, it says the day his crew came to set up the equipment,
Yes.
the morning of the party,
Yes.
they immediately complained about the setup being in the street. He threatened to leave, and I was desperate to make things right. He wanted me to put that bouncy house in front of my house, which was near the caterer.
Yes.
And he demanded a deposit of $1,000. I gave it to him on my credit card.
Yes, ma'am.
There was a spill of oil onto the street.
Yes, ma'am.
That's why we're here, because he says that his equipment, or some of it, was damaged by Eva, and he wants to be compensated. And you have a counterclaim.
Yes, ma'am.
Your counterclaim is that he took too much money off your credit card.
Yes.
So let's start with this. How much were you supposed to pay him for the equipment that he was renting to you?
I paid him $590 on March 11th, I think.
$590?
Yes.
And for what pieces of equipment did you pay him $590?
For a carousel jumper, a game booth, a popcorn machine, a snow cone machine, and a cotton candy machine. And 3 or 4 tables that went with the games.
What else?
Oh, and a tarp that goes underneath the bounce house. That goes with it.
And all of that was $590?
Well, it stayed as $475, but $590 was for delivery and cleaning.
And she paid you for it in advance?
Correct.
Now, what do you claim was damaged?
I claim that the damage was the...
No. Did you bring me what was damaged?
I did bring you a damaged tarp, yes.
I'd like to see it. No, don't give me the whole thing. Hold it up. What's wrong with it?
It is saturated with oil and was laying on the ground and saturated into the ground.
Okay, so that's a damaged tarp. And what is the other thing that's damaged?
This is just an example when we do, after we get done with our rentals, we clean our equipment. And this is one of the cleaning equipment that we have that goes back.
Tarp.
She damaged 3 tarps, the same way these are.
Do you have the cost of those tarps?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to take a look at it.
Can I have my wife come up?
No, no, no. I want you to show me an estimate for the replacing of those 3 tarps.
Damage of the tarps.
Just a second. The tarps are $99 a piece.
They're $300 and something.
No, no, no. They're $99 a piece, $297 for 3 tarps. That's what you showed me are damaged. Not steel frames, not bars, not end hooks, just the tarps. If there was oil spilled on it, that's what you said. That's $297 for all 3. That's what it says. Would you show that to him, please? 3 at $99 a piece. That's what it says.
And, Your Honor, can I show you what he gave me?
I just want him to look at it. 3 at $99 a piece, $297 for the 3.
That's correct.
Right.
But please, it states additional $135 a piece for the steel frames that come with the canopy.
Not going to happen, sir. Not going to happen. Oil didn't destroy or damage steel frames. Not going to happen. Not going to happen for you.
Okay.
Now, you wanted to show me something?
$5 to my car for damages or whatever. Then he turns around and says those tarps are $1,350.
Well, just listen to me. Right now, he has damage of, at most, $297 for oil that's spilling on the tarps. At most. And you paid him already $590.
Plus cleaning.
In addition to that, he took money from your card.
Yes.
How much money?
$2,650.
That's your counterclaim.
Yes, ma'am.
$2,650, giving you the benefit of every doubt, less $297, $2,353, sir. I'd like to see the additional damage for $2,353.
Sure.
See it. Pictures. See it.
I got pictures.
Let me see it.
I got all of them?
Don't speak.
This is all the damage.
This is all the damage.
Okay.
Correct. And further. Correct.
Just a second. Damage to bounce house.
Correct.
Oh, I don't see any damage to the bounce
There's
house.
oil on the bounce house.
Have you replaced the bounce house? And if you have replaced it, I want to see a paid bill.
Your Honor, may I speak? I had someone call and ask if the bounce house was available.
Listen to me. You don't have to speak.
Okay.
The answer is he hasn't replaced it, and he's still using it. Sir, I don't see any before and after pictures of this. You want to show me where those are? You say this is what the mouth looked like of the clown before the event. I don't have a clown mouth after the event showing me damages. This is a carousel jumper before the damage. And I would like you to show me in these pictures that you gave me the damage that you're alleging to these 2 things after the event.
Show you a
me.
picture?
I want to see pictures. You showed me these 2 pictures.
This one here is the bottom of the bounce house. And here's another picture of the bounce house, the bottom of the bounce house.
Great.
Yes.
Great.
Okay.
Disregard the bounce house. Listen to me. Are you listening?
Yes, ma'am.
Disregard the bounce house, which you're still using. Show me the damage to the clown's mouth.
The damage was done on the back side.
Judgment on the counterclaim to the defendant in the amount of $2,353. I'm removing $297, and that's for the 3 tarps. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Rest of the money you're getting back. We're done. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Excuse, you may step out.
Looking for, and I got it today.
I'm fine. Everything's just as good.
So I'm glad we came here today.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Morgan versus Morgan. Step forward.
Lamar Morgan is suing his brother, 22-year-old Willie Morgan, for bail and attorney fees after he was arrested for attempted murder.
Mr. Morgan, the defendant is your brother. Is he your older brother or your younger brother?
My younger brother.
How many brothers are there?
5 brothers.
How old is the oldest?
39.
And the youngest?
20.
You have any sisters?
4 sisters. Total of 10.
Where did you all grow up?
We grew up in Berkeley.
What kind of work do you do?
I do housekeeping.
How long have you been doing that?
12, 13 years.
Married or single?
Married.
Have kids?
1.
How old?
12.
And you, Mr. Morgan, how old are you?
22.
What do you do for a living?
I do security at Kaiser.
Who do you live with?
I live by myself.
And you were arrested
Yes.
when?
May 2017.
And it was a serious charge.
Yes.
Had you ever been arrested before?
No.
Have you ever been arrested since May of 17?
No.
But the charge in May of 17 was murder.
It was attempted murder.
When you were arrested, everybody sort of rallied around you because you were a good kid.
Yeah.
Including your brother.
Yes.
How much was your bail?
It was 1.2 million, then it was dropped down to 300,000, then 250,000.
With that case?
It was dismissed.
It was an outright dismissal?
Well, I'm not clear what that means exactly.
That means that you didn't plead guilty to something. The district attorney dismissed all the charges.
Oh, yes.
And when you were arrested in May, how long were you held?
For a week.
Must have been frightening.
Well, yeah.
Not?
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Must have been. Were you held in a local jail?
Yeah.
When were the charges? Because I gather from what you're telling me, they started out big, and then they realized they had nothing big, and then they started small. With regard to your defense, you said, I wasn't there.
Yeah.
And they kept offering you lower and lower and lower to just say, let's get this over with.
Yeah.
And you said, it wasn't me.
Yeah.
Now, when did they finally dismiss all the charges?
It was May 15th.
Of this year?
Yes.
So a year later?
Yes.
And so I'm sure you've contemplated what it would have been like to stay in that jail instead of a week for a year.
Yes.
Not nice.
Yeah.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Did they ever arrest anyone else for this crime?
They were looking for 3 suspects. My vehicle was a black 4-door, so it matched the description, so that's their reason for pulling me over and searching me.
Did they find anything when they searched you?
Real cases, real people.
His brother, Willie Morgan, owes for bail and attorney fees after he was arrested for attempted murder.
Now, how much money did your brother put up for your bail?
I'm not exactly sure, but it was majority of it.
How much money did you put up for his bail?
$3,000.
And did you have a public defender or a private attorney?
I had a private attorney.
How much was his bill?
$11,000.
Family get together and help you with that?
No.
Who did?
My brother.
How much did he give you?
I'm not exactly sure.
Well, you have an outstanding bill with the lawyer?
Well, actually, yeah, my father, he gave me $5,000, actually, now that I remember. And with the bill, I had a coworker who gave me $2,000, and I paid him back.
The co-worker?
Yes.
What about your father?
My father, no, it's for you. It's a
Father,
gift.
you did not pay back?
Yeah, it was a gift.
Okay. And when the bail was reduced within the week, I assume the district attorney who looked at this case said, all right, this is not a 1.2 million. This is how much? How much was his bail?
It went down to $250,000, and he had to pay $20,000. So when he called me, he asked me to bail him out, and he told me he'd pay me back. So we all put money together, and they said they'd come up with $7,000. We were trying to work out a deal with the bail bonds place, and so we did that, and they agreed if we give them $7,000, then they'll release him.
Who put up the rest?
I put $3,000. My brother's wife put down, so $7,000. He'd been making the $450 month payments on that.
Still?
Yes.
You have a lawsuit pending against the county?
No.
Did they ever arrest anyone else for this crime?
They were looking for 3 suspects, but never found. I was arrested by myself.
Was that on an eyewitness identification?
No. Just my vehicle was a black 4-door, so it matched the description, so that's their reason for pulling me over and searching me.
Did they find anything when they searched you?
No.
Any reason why you shouldn't pay your brother back this bail?
Because I was in jail, I got arrested, and I wasn't able to make a phone call for about 14 hours because they couldn't decide if they were gonna go through and file the charges and everything because they didn't have any evidence for anything. So when I finally got the chance to call my brother, he was already notified that I've been arrested and he was already trying to bail me out. So when I was talking to him, he was having trouble with different bail bonds trying to bail me out, and some bail bonds were wanting too much money or wanting to put me on house arrest. So that's why it took a week for him to bail me out.
Why did you call him? So far, you have a lot of talk.
Well, he was the first person I called, and
he was
answered.
the first person that you called?
Yeah.
What did you call him for?
Just to let him know I was in jail.
Okay. Let him know that this terrible thing had happened to you.
Yes.
Were you working at the time?
I was working, going to school, and playing football.
Are you still paying off the bail bondsman?
Yes. And still paying the lawyer fees.
Still going to school?
Not yet. I have too much stuff to pay off, and a lot of credit card debt and car repossession debt and everything.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
We had sat down with him, and she had wrote a list of everything of what he needed to pay back, because before he went to jail, he got tickets on her card too as well, so he had owed her money too as well throughout the year. He never paid her back too. So
okay.
Yeah.
Well, that was sort of kid stuff.
Real cases, real people.
Judge Judy.
Lamar Morgan says his brother, Willie Morgan, owes for bail and attorney fees after he was arrested for attempted murder.
Now, your brother wants his $3,000 back. He's entitled to his...
There was another $1,000 that went to his lawyer fees, too. He had called me because he had lost his job from spending that week in jail, too. So when he had got out of jail and he finally lost his job, he asked, can I help him with that, too, as well? And so I was like, okay, I'll help you with that, too, as well. So after everything is over with, you pay me back. And so when he was in jail, he also told me that he'd pay me back too, and his girlfriend said the same thing. And then we decided to help him out because he wasn't able to catch up on all his bills and pay everything because he lost his job and he was looking for a job. And so my friend helped him get another job, delivering like beer to stores and stuff as a stalker and stuff. So he was doing that throughout the year. Down with him, and she had wrote a list of everything of what he needed to pay back because before he went to jail, he got tickets on her card too as well. So he had owed her money too as well throughout the year. And he never paid her back too. So
okay,
yeah.
Well, that was sort of kid stuff.
Yeah, we've been taking care of him since he was 14 years old. I mean, a lot of the stuff that he put us through, I mean, he's been very unappreciative of everything we put him through. My mom had got sick in 2012, and she finally just passed away this past year and stuff. So he just really been, like, really, really ungrateful for everything we've been trying to teach him and stuff. Like, we tried to teach him to tell him to go, like, help him go to college and stuff, and to not go down that wrong path or not get arrested and stuff or anything like that. And we try to be role models toward him. I went to school myself to graduate with a master's degree. She went to school, got her registered nurse. She's a registered nurse now, and we've been trying to show him these ropes about what to do, and he just been very defiant for no reason. Like, I haven't done nothing to him. Like, I haven't spoken to him since June, really, you know. Before then, I talked to him in May because that's when he had brought her money to her that he owed her. And then before that, when my mom passed away at her funeral, me and him had gotten into it too as well about everything, about the money, about him living with us, not wanting to pay rent and stuff because we told him that he could stay with us.
When was the last time he lived with you?
It was about April 12th, somewhere around there.
Where did you move in April?
It was in May. Kicked me out in May, 2 days before my mom's funeral, and I went and lived with a friend.
Where are you living now?
I have my own apartment now.
Did he pay $1,000 towards your lawyer?
Yes.
How did he...
We have a brother who's in prison as well. So a long time ago, when my brother was arrested for murder and everything, and we didn't have money...
That's not a for everything.
Yeah.
If you're arrested for murder, that's a serious charge. And is he in prison on that charge?
Yeah. At the time, my brother didn't have any bail or a lawyer or anything. We didn't have any money for that a long time ago. So my brother here, he felt the need that he's seen the situation I was in and how I explained to him how I didn't do anything. So he felt the need as my big brother to have the money for me for a lawyer and bail so I wouldn't end up being in prison or anything like that for like a long time and my whole life just being thrown away.
Well, if you commit a crime, you deserve to be in prison.
Yeah.
So what you're suggesting to me that the brother who is in prison now is there and didn't do anything?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Are you in a family dispute? Go to judgejudy.com, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter.
So what you're suggesting to me that the brother who is in prison now is there and didn't do anything?
No, he just knew that, like...
Is that what you're suggesting to me? So the answer is no.
No.
Okay, but you're standing here today and telling me that with regard to this case, the only case that you were ever involved in, it wasn't you weren't involved with it.
Yeah, correct.
And the reason that you didn't spend of your brother and others.
Yes.
Pay him back $4,000. Judgment for the plaintiff. We're done.
Why is that excused when you step out?
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
It was a good decision. It just, you know, that's my younger brother, and I really do care for him, but it's like...
It was ridiculous.
He not gonna pay his debt and don't want to own up to...
People get away with stuff like that all the time, so...
To what he owed me, I mean, you know, it is what it's gonna be.
There's nothing I could do about it, and it was just ridiculous to me.
He decided to buy a motorcycle instead of paying me back. After I didn't help him a lot.
I needed something to get to work, because I had gotten into a car accident, my car was messing up and everything, so...
Throughout his whole life, and that's what he chose to do.
Nothing. I just want to be left alone.
I regret saying it, but he on his own now.
It's time to go my own way.
An accounting firm.
They did work for you?
Yes.
Did you pay them?
Yes.
That couldn't keep their own books straight?
I don't believe that's correct. Who did you write the check to?
To you.
They say there's an unpaid bill of $2,288.
I understand. That's what they say. If anything, they were negligent and non-responsible to me as a client.
But we did all this work.
Evidently not satisfactorily.
Judge Judy.
Are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Bookkeeper Elizabeth Burns is suing her former client, deli owner Gary Wallach, for unpaid work.
Order. All rise. It's case number 271 on the calendar in the matter of Burns versus Wallach. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Sir, have a seat.
Ms. Burns, according to what I read in your complaint, you bought someone's accounting firm.
My mentor, Mr. Behar, and I purchased a friend of ours accounting firm.
Okay, and this was a client of that firm's?
It was, yes.
And you stayed on, did some business for him, and want to be paid. That's what your claim is about. And he's got a counterclaim. He says that you didn't know what the hell you were doing and you caused damage to his business. That's your counterclaim?
Yes.
Perfect. So, Mr. Wallach, how long had you been with the previous firm?
Approximately 25 years.
And this was a CPA firm?
She was not a CPA, she was an accountant.
What kind of work did she do for you?
Payroll for the business. She paid all my taxes, EDD. She did complete accounting of my business.
Okay. And what, Ms. Byron's, training do you have?
I'm an enrolled agent. I'm enrolled to practice before the Internal Revenue Service.
What training did you have?
So I started...
Just a second. Do you have a bachelor's in accounting?
No, I do not.
What do you have a bachelor's degree in?
It's a Bachelor of Arts in Business Administration with a management emphasis.
And when did you graduate from school?
I graduated in December of 2007.
What kind of work did you do after that?
I worked for a large healthcare technology company doing product support, helping healthcare providers submit their claims electronic and receive payment electronic.
Okay.
I also...
Not accounting?
No, but during that time, I had met Mr. Behar before I graduated during a summer job, and he's an enrolled agent, and I started working for him part-time. I also grew up, my parents are accountants, and I grew up learning about it.
Just for my own information, when you took over this accounting firm, did you tell Mr. Wallach or any of the other clients about your experience? Did you put out a letter?
We did.
I'd like to see the letter that you put out.
I don't have the letter, and...
Do you remember what information you were provided about Miss Burns?
No information.
So why did you stay?
Because they worked with my late accountant, and they had all the paperwork, and they were knowledgeable from what I thought of doing the accounting.
But you didn't do any due diligence about them. I mean, I have an accountant. I've been with an accountant for well over 40 years. If somebody took over his firm, I don't know whether I would stay with them. I'd say, well, tell me about you.
Well, they were doing work, I did them.
Fine. So, and you accepted that?
Yes.
Okay. And they did work for you?
Yes.
Did you pay them?
Yes.
Okay. They say there's an unpaid bill of $2,288. That's what this case is about.
I understand. That's what they say. But I don't feel I owe them anything. If anything, they were negligent and non-responsible to me as a client, and they cost me severe penalties, delinquency charges. They increased their fees without even letting me know prior from the other accountant.
Just a second, wait, just 1 second. Part of what you're saying to me, Mr. Wallach, is you were dissatisfied with their service. If you're dissatisfied with any service, you pay for that service and then you leave. If what you're telling me is that the fee structure changed without notifying you, that's a particular that I'll hear. Is that what you're alleging?
No. That wasn't the cause of...
Just a second. Well, you mentioned that in your litany of lists. You said that they changed their fees without telling me. Am I mistaken?
No, you're not, but that's not why I'm here, because of that.
Well, then why do I have to know about it? You made a whole list of reasons why you didn't pay them. You have to pay them if they did work for you. You were not satisfied with the work, then you leave. They're not going to be responsible, sir. If for some reason your taxes went up, that's not their responsibility.
Okay. Okay. The reason I started paying them when they first started, the first check was in April of 18th. I received a bill for $111.92.
April of what year?
That was paid of 2018.
Okay, so
that
it was paid. So
yes.
then, as far as you were concerned, you were current.
Absolutely.
Okay, is that correct?
That is correct.
All right, so it's after April. What bill did you get after April?
Here's a bill from June 15th for $432.49.
Did you pay it?
I paid it, and the check was cashed 3 months later, I found out. But they were not crediting me the money. I was giving them checks, and they did not credit me. They were waiting 3 months to cash the checks while they were gone for 3 months back east doing something with the Boy Scouts.
Just a second. What months do you allege he owes you for?
May, June, and July.
So he got a bill on June 5th, he said, of 2018 for $432.
I don't believe that's correct. Who did you write the check?
I have to you.
Who's that? That says Byerlin. I'm not Byerlin.
Yeah, but you were working for at the
I
time.
was not.
No, that's June.
I was not.
Then why were you sending me the bills?
Ireland is not me. She sent you that bill.
But it was for the time you were working for her.
Listen a second.
I'm sorry.
Don't answer her.
Okay.
How much did you pay your former accountant a month to do the work for you?
$150 a month.
Okay, so when you paid $432 and you pay that in June, you pay that to the old accountant.
Who was not doing any of the work. She had a stroke.
But she had to have cashed the check.
Yeah, she was cashing it, but then she should have reimbursed them.
Well, I don't know that. She doesn't know that. Now, May, June, and July, he had been paying the old accountant $150 approximately a month. You have a bill for $2,286. What is that for?
So we had to go back. So there was payroll that was twice a month. There was a payroll tax return. And then we had to go back and do input that Ms. Byerlin had never done for 2017.
Did you discuss that with him first?
Yeah, he actually dropped everything off.
For 2017?
Yeah.
And you discussed that with him?
He had dropped the paperwork off and asked us to input it.
Did you discuss what your fee would be with him?
Yes, and actually the first invoice he paid, and it has our fee on there.
May I see it, please?
Yes.
The $111.92 was the current amount.
Correct, and he did pay that.
Customer total balance was for when?
It was for that time period. So it was the total balance my employees did.
And that's that work?
Yes.
Did you turn that work back over to him?
Yes.
When?
I believe July 17th, he had contacted our office and had us forward the QuickBooks file to the person who was going to take over, and that was completed. And she...
Oh, just a second. So you never turned it over to him. He was firing your company and turning it over to somebody else?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to show you this. Do you remember this invoice, sir?
Yes, I do.
Did you ever question the amount at the bottom?
No.
Why?
Because I paid it.
$2,288?
Excuse me, this is $1,100.
No, it said previous balance, $2,288.
Oh, yeah, I did question it.
Tell me about the discussion when you questioned it.
The discussion was when I gave a check on June 15th, and this was the balance sheet, they weren't crediting me the checks that I was giving them, number one.
Can I see? Because you were making them payable to whom?
Well, I was paying to my old accountant.
Just tell me, the name you were making the checks payable to was who?
Was Byron's.
Okay, that's who you have to sue. Sue her. Sue her estate. Because he says he's paying her.
Those are from interviews.
He was your client from when to when?
He was our client from, I believe, the middle of March until the middle of July.
I'd like to see the checks that you made from March, April, and May. This is June 15th, $432, which would have covered 3 months.
Yes, I don't have that check with me, but it was made to her.
This one?
Yes.
Okay. I don't think I can help you, Miss Burns.
I don't understand. She was sending out bills for prior balances that had nothing to do...
I don't know that.
But he has those bills here.
I don't know that. He doesn't have to prove anything to me.
But we did all this work.
Evidently not satisfactorily. Because, I mean, why would he take business away from you if he had been with the firm for 25 years? Let's be realistic. If somebody is in business and everything is going smoothly and whoever is there retires and you're perfectly satisfied with the replacement and all your business is there, all your prior returns are there, all your prior bills were there, why would you move it?
Probably because you're not satisfied. Or...
Well, either because you're not satisfied or because things weren't working well.
Right.
When this woman had a stroke, was that in March?
No, it was in August of 17.
Okay, did she continue to work?
She did not. She was in a coma.
Well, then who's cashing her checks?
So we were operating her business, and they were going into her business account. She is now back. She is.
Well, find out from her where all the money is. He says he's paid. And why isn't she here?
She just can't move very well.
Okay. I give you 3 minutes to explain your counterclaim to me.
My counterclaim was, as of today, I am getting delinquent bills for business license that was never done by the accountant that should have been. EDD, notice of form that was delinquent, that was never done on their part. Federal tax deposits that were submitted incorrectly. Federal tax deposits that were made many mistakes.
Well, let me see the first piece of paper that you have, and then I will share it with the plaintiff.
Sure. Let me show you all of these. Okay.
First piece of
This is the first one.
Just for my own information, Ms. Burns, the person from whom you took over the business is now back in business.
On a very, very limited basis.
Are you working with her?
No.
Okay, then we're done. Did you take care of any tax deposits in March of 2018?
I don't believe so, because I believe Ms. Byerlin was doing that.
Well, that's why it's all pretty muddy. I thought you said she had a stroke
She did.
August, and now she's back. And you worked for him March, April, May, and June. This is March 31st. Your federal income tax deposit wasn't submitted correctly. And this is for a delinquent business license.
He continues in a moment. And later today,
Return the car. Put your hand down. So far, you're not losing. You're getting the car back. Now, the only other issue, what do you want?
real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Bookkeeper Elizabeth Burns says former client, deli owner Gary Wallach, owes for services rendered. Gary is countersuing for damage she caused to his business.
You worked for him March, April, May, and June. This is March 31st. Your federal income tax deposit wasn't submitted correctly. And this is for a delinquent business license. Were you supposed to take care of that?
It was due on August 31st, and he had terminated services before I had completed it.
Oh, it was due on July 1st.
No, so they have a due date. So like the payroll returns, they're due the first day of the month after the quarter ends, but they're not delinquent until after the...
That doesn't mean anything. If payment is due on July 1st.
No, I believe it says at the top that payment's due August.
Payment is due on July 1st. Penalty applies after August 31st. Payment is due July 1st.
They have a grace period.
I'm done. You have a new accountant? You happy?
Very.
Good. Case is dismissed. We're done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I believe the defendant didn't explain he was receiving old bills and paying them and then saying
They never checked in,
that he was paying me, and that's not even true.
and everything became a mess where we could never get a hold of them.
Because he didn't have any money.
And they were just irresponsible and didn't care.
If people don't pay me when they get the bill, I'd never do business with them.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Bucci versus Haynes. Step forward.
Dana Bucci and her sister Susan are suing their stepfather, Thomas Haynes, for a car and elder abuse.
The defendant was married to your mother for 33 years. Is that correct?
Correct.
Your mother had a car. In whose name was the car?
Mine.
Tell me your name.
Dana Bucci.
And the title was titled in your name.
Mine and my mother's.
Is that correct, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
May I see the title?
You sure can.
And was there a loan on the car?
There was, and still is.
How much is remaining on the loan?
$5,864.54.
Is your name on the loan?
No, Your Honor.
Then you have to return the car or pay off the loan. What's the issue, sir?
The issue is we had a benefit for my wife, and these ladies here helped throw the benefit.
Yes. You want to throw a benefit for your wife? Throw a benefit for your wife. You have to return her car to her. That's it. Period. 5 days. You need more than 5 days? You may need a marshal to come and get it.
Truthfully, I don't really want the car.
I don't care whether you want it or not. If you don't want the car, your case is dismissed. What's your pleasure?
I just wanted the loan paid off.
Well, he's not going to do that. If he was going to do that, then you wouldn't be here, so you get the car back.
Your Honor.
And then at least you have the car. Do you want that or not?
Sure.
Great. 5 days, you
Your
go
Honor.
retrieve the car with a marshal.
Can I speak up, please?
It's not your car.
I understand that it's not my car, but I'm doing a counterclaim.
What do you think they owe you for?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Do I have to deal with anything else? What?
The issue with the benefit, I know you don't want to hear about the benefit.
I
but
don't. Sir, pay careful attention
Sure.
to me. Did you pay for the funeral?
No.
What did you do? What did you do?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Dana Bucci and her sister Susan claim their stepfather, Thomas Haynes, owes for a car and for abusing their late mother. Thomas is countersuing for money owed, stolen property, and the return of his wife's ashes.
If you don't want the car, your case is dismissed. What's your pleasure?
I just wanted
that, then you wouldn't be here, so you get the car back.
Your Honor.
And then at least you have the car. Do you want that or not?
Sure.
Great. 5 days, go
Your Honor.
retrieve the car with a marshal.
Can I speak up, please?
It's not your car.
I understand that it's not my car, But I'm doing a counterclaim.
What do you think they owe you for?
The benefits so I can pay my bills.
No. Listen, if you're a survivor, sir, then you get certain benefits. If there were any other benefits that were not survivors'
My wife had them do that so that we would have the money.
Oh, I don't know that. You have to return the car 5 days. I will prepare an order. Do you understand? Very good. Do I have to deal with anything else? What?
Well, there's some other things on the claim that I don't know if... Can I stand up?
Sure.
Well,
Who are you?
I'm Christopher. I'm Tommy's best friend, Christopher Ledoux.
Well, what's wrong with him?
Nothing, but there are some other things on the counterclaim that I just want to make sure get addressed.
Like what?
The issue with the benefit, I know you don't want to hear about the benefit,
I
but
don't.
The wife...
Sir, pay careful attention to me. Pay careful attention to me. If there were survivor benefits, lawful survivor benefits, they would go in normal due course, they would go to the defendant. He was her next of kin. They would go to him, correct? I assume that there were certain Social Security benefits. No? No burial benefits?
No.
No? Who paid? Did you pay for the funeral?
No.
What did you do? What did you do? Return the car. Put your hand down. So far, you're not losing. You're getting the car back. Your expenses are going to be held here until the car is returned to them undamaged. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Perfect. Now, the only other issue, what do you want?
I just wanted to show he's been in possession of the car since my mom passed, and there's been payments that have been made while he's had the car for...
That's too bad.
Since she's...
That's too bad. He's returning the car. Now, where are your mother's ashes?
They are at my house.
He wants them.
That's fine. I've got text messages between me and him, and I told him to just come and get them.
Oh, great. So at the time you make that exchange and you go pick up the car, drop off your mom's ashes. That was part of your counterclaim.
Yes.
That had nothing to do with money. You see that? So that's going to be the order. You're going to get your car back, and he's going to get his wife's ashes back. We're done. Thank you.
Your Honor.
What do you want?
I have a bed that's over there, too.
You have a what?
A bed.
Their bed.
Is that in your countersuit? I have to look here. Well, I have to look here. I didn't know. Sit down.
Judge Judy continues. Family dispute? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
When I was forced out of my apartment in July, my stepdaughters promised to bring my bed to my friend's place where I was staying. It was never delivered. Where's his bed?
In the trailer at my house.
Great. Make arrangements to get it. Same time, you have to get it. You make arrangements. It's not going to be delivered to your house. It's there. What date do you want him to pick it up?
As soon as possible. He
Great.
has not asked me for it.
Same day,
make any
same day
attempt.
as you go pick up the car. If he doesn't make arrangements on that day to pick up the bed, trash it. Got it?
Got it.
Perfect. That'll all be in the order. We're done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I think it's very petty.
I think it's ridiculous.
Because families shouldn't be doing this to each other.
Because I am the husband.
Tried to have him get the car into his name.
I should have the car.
He was talking about the benefit money. That would have all went into that.
I should have the money. It belongs to me.
As long as my name would have came off that title.
They've never liked me anyways, so...
Rolling in her grave.
That everything turns out to be...
Well, I'm glad she saw through him.
Better for the both of us.
Body repair and a paint job.
She took the car before it was through.
Then another collision in front of the judge.
He kept telling me, you can ask my niece. When he told me he was going to have...
I don't want to hear from the two of you talking over each other.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Tamara Eisen is suing mechanic Albert Dobson for failing to fix her car and for causing more damage in the process.
Order. All rise. It's case number 249 on the calendar, the matter of Isom versus Dobson.
Thank you.
Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat.
Miss Isom, you had a truck.
Yes, ma'am.
And were you in an accident with the truck?
Yes, ma'am.
When was that?
6/14/17.
And you had insurance on the truck?
Yes, ma'am.
And the insurance company totaled the truck.
Right.
But said that if you wanted to, you could keep it. And they took off $1,500 from the settlement that they gave you.
Right.
How much did they give you?
They gave me close to $6,000.
So now you had $6,000 and your truck.
Right.
The truck belonged to your father?
Right.
You have that title here?
Yes, ma'am.
And you decided that you wanted to have the truck fixed?
Yes, ma'am.
So you took it to the defendant?
I didn't take it to him. He came and picked it up.
He came and picked it up because it was not drivable?
It was drivable. He drove it home to his house.
Oh, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And on what date did you drive it home to your house?
I went and looked at the truck possibly on the 1st of October, and I drove it home like the 16th, 17th.
October 16th, 2017.
17.
How much money, Mr. Dobson, did the plaintiff give you to fix her truck?
The total amount was $2,000.
How long, Mr. Dobson, did you have the truck?
Well, when I got the truck, she told me it wasn't no time period.
That's not what I asked you.
I had the truck till
From
she had
October
it.
16th until when?
Until she had it towed away. I don't remember the exact date.
What month?
I don't remember the exact month.
What month did you have it towed off of his...
August 29th.
August of 2018.
Right. The 29th.
That's a very long time, sir.
Yes,
to have,
it is.
That's a very long time for you to have the vehicle and having not been fixed.
Well, it was a couple of issues, Your Honor, why it didn't get fixed. And one of them was it was hit in the back that she never told me about.
It was what?
Hit in the rear. And when I went to put the front door on that I was supposed to replace it, didn't truck back like that. So she sent 2 guys by that was supposed to straighten out the back of the truck, and they never came by. Because I got paid to fix the front of the truck. And all the money that she gave me went in parts for the truck, except for $500.
Show me the receipts for the parts.
I don't have them. The reason why I don't have the receipts for the part, Tamara was a friend of my niece's. I do this as like for a hobby. So all of the parts that I was getting for, I wasn't getting at regular manufacturer price. I was getting them cheaper from junkyards that I knew that had them.
Mr. Dobson, you drove her car back to your premises in October of 2017. Was the car driven back to her house?
She could have. The car was drivable, the door was back on, and the fender was back on.
I had a receipt from the tow.
I had to leave the door open on the car because the wedge of the car where it was through, the back frame was through off. I couldn't get back in the car if I shut the door all the way.
I see pictures of the car when you got it back.
Yes, ma'am. It's pictures showing where he had my interior is messed up. He broke the window.
I was supposed to do the exterior, Your Honor.
No, the receipt
I was doing
shows.
I don't want to hear from the two of you talking over each other.
Yes, ma'am.
The receipt showed where he was supposed to do the body repair and the paint job.
Right, exterior.
So now the wiring.
Just be quiet. Okay. Would you show this to the defendant, please?
This is not how the paint job looked when I gave her the car back or when she towed it back. And the paint job did not get to be sand down or buffed out because she took the car before it was through.
I want to see what the car looked like when you brought it back. Would you, Mr. Dobson, go through these pictures and tell me if any of these pictures represent what the car looked like when you brought it to your house, and if there is a picture there from when she took it back in August. Is there a picture there of when she took it back in August?
No, Your Honor. There's no before pictures here of the car. This is the picture of me putting a new frame into the car.
Mr. Dobson, what I asked you for, I want you to pay attention to my question.
I am.
I said, is there a picture there of what the truck looked like when Miss Isom took the car back from you? Is that
only one?
One.
Yep.
This is when she took the car back.
Yes, Your Honor.
All of these were before.
When I was working on it.
Okay, with the shattered window.
The window was shattered when I picked it up from her house.
Did you replace it?
No, I wasn't supposed to.
Oh, so you didn't replace it?
No, I wasn't supposed to. When the window was broke...
Just shh. That's a bad paint job. That's the same windshield.
Here's the note from everything that was wrong.
Don't tell me what tow truck guy said.
Okay.
Just a second. What is this a picture of?
Can I step up?
Would you show this to me?
This is a picture before, Your Honor. All of this was crushed all the way back to here on the frame. It split the wire harness that controls the backlights.
What I'm asking you is, did you do any work on the inside of the car?
I had to take the seats out to put the frame in.
Okay. And when you replaced the seats, what did it look like?
It looked a lot better than that. The wire, she took it before I finished it, but I recovered the whole floor with fiberglass and sealed it. Right where you put your feet on the gas at, it was holes going through there. I filled those with fiberglass.
This is what he did.
And I bought all the material myself, Your Honor. He did?
Yeah, that's how he came back to me. And
I need to see that, too.
You can.
Mr. Dobson.
Told me to take my time.
Mr. Dobson, you have to give her back $1,000.
Huh?
You have to give her back $1,000.
He made my trip worse than it was.
That's actually all. Listen to me. That's actually. There's no question in my mind that Mr. Dobson didn't finish the job for which you paid him. You gave him $2,000. There's also no question that he did work on the car and got parts for the car. The question that he put parts in the car, and if you were honest or had a mechanic here who worked on the truck subsequently, you have nothing.
I have estimates.
You have nothing.
So he messed up my wiring and everything.
Well, I don't know that unless you have an expert.
I
you
need
don't.
him here?
No, in my breakfast room. An expert who will tell me that somebody, other than as a result of an accident, caused damage to the car. You don't have that. There's no question in my mind that Mr. Dobson bought parts for the car, and he spent some time on the car. He has to give you back some money. My only question is, how much money does he have to give you back? I mean, you're suing him for $5,000. That's ridiculous.
He can give me back the money I gave him. I told him that the car was sentimental to me. Every time I go over there, he kept spinning me.
Finish her car. I did not spin her.
No, he kept telling me, you can ask my niece. When he told me he was going to have it done by Thanksgiving.
Her witness
he didn't have
the one who turned her on to me. So.
Do you want to be over, or do you want your $1,000 back, is my question. Do you want this to be over, or do you want your $1,000?
No, I don't want it to be over. I want the $1,000.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,000. We're done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I appreciate giving me part of my money back.
I stand behind my work 100%.
Because it's sentimental to me. I got it from my dad.
If she wanted me to still finish it and do the rest, I would.
All parties in the matter of Spoosta versus Spoosta. Step forward.
Donald Spoosta is suing his son, Sean Spoosta, for a loan for a truck and truck-related expenses.
Mr. Spoosta, how many children do you have?
I have 3.
How old are they?
He's 34, and my other one's 38 and 37.
How old are you?
34.
You have any sort of substance abuse problem?
No, ma'am.
Were you having a difficult financial time?
Yes, ma'am.
You were living outside of the home, but I gather from the complaint, in not a very good circumstance.
Yes, ma'am.
You were living in a house that had a bunch of drug addicts living
Yeah,
there.
of course, yes.
Your father came and asked you if you wanted to move home, and you did.
Yes, ma'am.
When was that?
Probably the beginning of June, I would say.
And when you came home, your father bought a truck
Yes, ma'am.
that he put in your name.
Yes.
Did your father discuss with you buying the truck before he went to buy it?
Yes, we did.
And tell me your version of what the arrangement was with the truck, because it belongs to you, it's your truck.
Yes,
it's in
ma'am.
your name.
We discussed it. We settled on he'd pay half and I would pay half, and I made the payments.
Just a second. Did you know how much the truck was?
Yes, I did, ma'am. It was
How much?
$1,500.
And how did you come up with the agreement that you would pay half and he would pay half?
Well, that was our agreement that we both settled on.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, and I agreed to it, and I paid the $750.
I know that you have a script that you want to say to me, sir.
Yeah.
I want you to tell me how you and your father came to the fact that he would advance the money for the truck and you would just pay him back
He
for
was
half.
doing it mostly out of the kindness of his heart, I believe, for the most part, trying to help me out. If I worked or whatever, pay the payments, then we would be equal on it then. I mean, it was just basically a discussion we had and a verbal agreement on what we would come across.
Want to tell me about the discussion before you went to get the truck, Mr. Spoosta?
Yeah, actually,
prior to talking to Sean, I hadn't talked with him for about 8 months.
It's okay. Just tell me about the truck.
He came to me and said he found a vehicle that he wanted to purchase. It was like $2,000 down the road from where he was staying. And all he had was a bike, and he was riding a bike to and from a job he had working at a lumber yard. We went and looked at that one. We talked the lady down to $1,500. The vehicle was no good, and he was kind of upset with that. And I said, first off, I told him I would.
Tell me about this truck.
The truck. I told Sean I would lend him the money for the truck, and he could come and stay with me. my wife and helped me on a mobile home that we bought because it needed repairs. And he pays me for the truck as long as he didn't go out and drink and do drugs. And he assured me he was not doing that anymore. And I told him as long as the truck, I'll lend him the money, he stays with me, but if he leaves, the truck stays with me.
I want you to tell me there's no issue that your son paid for half the truck.
No, there was no issue. We never said that I was going to pay half.
Listen to me. Men have to use their ears. You have to let women finish before you pounce in. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Where do you think he's going to get the money to pay you back for the truck?
He said he was working all these overtime hours and you're not having taxes taken out. Plus, I know he did a side job for $500.
What does that have to do with you?
And later today.
When did you pay her the rest?
Probably a week later.
That would be a week later. You went back and took out another $4,000.
No, I'd actually had a transaction from another.
I don't believe you, unless you're going to be able to document that, so you're full of baloney.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Donald Spooster says his son, Sean Spooster, borrowed money for a truck and never finished paying him back.
Okay, I said there's no question because you acknowledged that he paid you partially for the truck.
While he was staying there, yes.
Yes. How much did he pay?
He paid $750.
So he paid for half.
No, he didn't pay for half.
Yes, the truck was $1,500. $750 was half. And then what happened when he made the last payment, which would have brought it to $750? What happened?
I kicked him out at one point because he was lying to me.
When did he make the last payment?
The last payment he made was on 7/28.
And when did he leave your residence?
I told him to get out and leave the truck and finish paying me for the truck on August 3rd.
Did you ever have an agreement with him that he would pay just for half and you would pay for half of the truck?
No, not at all.
So you were advancing him the money and he was living with you rent-free and working?
Yes, I wanted him to save his money to move out.
On what date did he move in with you?
He moved in with me basically the day we bought the truck, the 19th of June.
So between June 19th and July 28th, he paid you $750?
Yes.
You work at the lumber yard?
Yes, ma'am. Well, I was, and then I found a new job, and I started working there at a construction company.
Are you still at that job?
No, not right at the moment, unfortunately.
Why?
Me and my boss, we finished our projects we were working on, and I just started a new job at another construction company. So
when did you start the new job?
It broke. The transmission blew up on it, and then the clutch burned up, and it was not worth salvaging the vehicle for how much it was going to cost to fix it.
Did you tell your father that that happened to the
No,
truck?
I have not, because I have not talked to him since the day I got kicked out.
Who are you living with now?
Right now, I'm just kind of living with some friends at the moment.
Did you know that the truck broke down?
No, I hadn't talked with him since he moved out. He wouldn't return my call.
Did you call him?
I called him and I texted him.
And he was angry and didn't return your call?
No, he did not return my call.
Where do you think he's going to get the money to pay you back for the truck?
Well, now that he's not working again, I don't know where he would get it. But before he was working, and he said he was working all these overtime hours every Saturday. And if you're getting paid $15 an hour and you're not having taxes taken out, that's $600 a week plus working overtime, and every night supposedly working overtime, because when he did come back, it wasn't until late.
Well, he paid you $750 in a month.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty decent.
He did a side job for $500.
What does that have to do with you?
Nothing.
Right.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today.
Are you full of baloney, or are you going to be able to document the fact that you got the other $4,000 in cash someplace a week later?
I know, and it's if...
No, I don't want to hear yabba dabba do.
Donald Spooster says his son, Sean Spooster, borrowed money for a truck and never finished paying him back.
Okay, he paid you back $750 in a month. That's pretty reasonable.
I was, yes, while he was staying with me, correct.
My problem with you, sir, is that I don't believe that you had an agreement with your father that he was going to pay for half.
Okay.
And you were going to pay for half. It's my job to determine the demeanor and credibility of a witness.
Of course.
And when you said that to me, it didn't have the ring of truth when I looked in your face. I think that you expected to pay your father back for the entire truck. And the fact that he got annoyed with you because you're a 34-year-old man who stayed out all weekend, he was annoyed and he kicked you out. That's what he says.
Yes.
Happened in the papers. I'm sorry for you that the truck broke down, but I believe that you did have an agreement with your father to pay him back for the truck. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $750. We're finished.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I just think he's upset that we had an argument and I got kicked out.
Well, he's your son, and you want to do whatever you can to try to help.
Hopefully we can move on from here.
Time to wash my hands of it. I've tried to help him so many times. Now it's time to just move on, and he can go his way.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Burbank versus Smithy, step forward.
Brandy Burbank is suing Larry Smithy for the unpaid.
You were selling a horse trailer.
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you advertise it?
Yes, Your Honor.
On where?
On Marketplace, on Facebook.
You were selling the trailer for how much?
$9,000.
You had bought it for how much?
$10,000.
And Mr. Smithy answered the ad, and according to you, sir, you came on to an agreement on the price. You picked up the trailer. You gave a deposit to Miss Burbank. She wouldn't give you the title until you paid the full amount. That's what I read. You don't specify the amount. Are you looking confused?
Well, no, we settled on an agreement for $8,000. She did advertise it for $9,000.
Right, you settled on $8,000. Now, did you pay her in check or cash?
Cash.
And you took the cash from where?
My bank account.
On what date?
I'm going to say it. I don't even, yeah, I do.
I'm going to say. Don't tell me I'm going to say. You were coming to court today, so you should have exactly what day you took the cash from your account.
It was November of 2017, or, yeah.
On the same day you took out how much?
$4,000.
So you gave her $4,000.
Yes, sir.
Great. And when did you pay her the rest?
Probably a week later.
Great. That would be a week later. You went back and took out another $4,000.
No, I'd actually had a transaction from another.
I don't believe you, unless you're going to be able to document that, so you're full of baloney.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Are you the victim of a scam? Go to judgejudy.com.
Okay, so now what is it? Are you full of baloney? Or are you going to be able to document the fact that you got the other $4,000 in cash someplace a week later?
I know, and it's if...
No, I don't want to hear yabba dabba do. I want to hear, am I full of baloney, or I owe her $4,000, or give me some time and I'll be able to give you the paperwork on the transaction.
I could definitely provide a withdrawal receipt.
For the $4,000 that you took out?
Both times, well, yeah.
Both times?
Well, the first time, ma'am. Second time I had a transaction.
I'm old, but I'm not addled. You paid her $4,000 as a deposit.
Yes, ma'am.
It's the $4,000 that's at issue in this case. Now, 3 things happen. Either you're full of baloney in the answer you just gave me, that you had another transaction, and that was so you had $4,000 in cash the next week, or you can show me that you pulled another $4,000 from the bank, or you owe her $4,000. Which is it?
I can't provide you with the receipt on the transaction.
Then you owe her $4,000. Judgment for the plaintiff. We're done. Thank you very much.
Step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I'd got a phone call from her soon-to-be ex-husband saying that the trailer was his. There's money that's unaccounted for in a divorce.
Definitely not give him the title prior to me getting all my money.
She thought it was an invitation to wed her.
I saw that the door was open.
Big mistake.
I want you to tell me how you got bit by his dog.
The dogs came, and I'm standing right in the middle, right there in the path of them, and they started to attack me.
You went to the hospital. What happened to you?
I was in deep shock to see those dogs jumped on my mother-in-law and mauling at her.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Blanche Dawson and her daughter-in-law, Karen DeMar, are suing their former tax preparer, Tyrus Jones Sr., for medical costs and pain and suffering due to a dog attack.
Order. All rise. It's case number 216 on the calendar in the matter of DeMar Dawson versus Jones.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat, please.
What is your first name?
Karen.
And your Miss Dawson?
I'm Miss Dawson.
This is your
daughter-in-law.
Miss.
In the beginning, yes.
Was he also doing your taxes?
Yes.
How long have you been a tax preparer?
I've been assisting people with taxes for well over 20 years.
Is that what you do as a full-time job?
No, I work for the federal government.
In what capacity?
I'm a health IT specialist.
What particular training do you have in tax preparation?
I just started doing taxes at an early age.
So you have none. You have no formal training in
No
tax.
formal training.
In tax
That's
preparation.
correct.
You were referred to him?
Yes, I was.
By whom?
Wallace. He's a friend of mine.
When did you see him and give him?
March the 10th.
And you?
I saw him after.
You saw him after, so you went at the same time?
We did go at the same time.
Okay,
yes.
so you saw March 10th and gave him the paperwork. How much did you charge each one to prepare their taxes?
Well, I charged Mr. DeMar $200.
$200?
Yes, ma'am.
And Miss Dawson?
She didn't pay anything. I was going to do hers for free.
Why?
Because initially I was going to charge her $200. However, I wasn't able to complete the taxes when I had told Mr. Marr that the taxes will be completed by April. But she kept persisting and calling, so I had other people that I was assisting them with. So I was going to, actually the date that I first saw them was March the 15th, not the 10th.
Mr. Jones, I assume that you're not handling anybody's taxes that are complicated since you have no training. I assume it's as simple as people who you do it, and they're simplistic. There's nothing complicated about their tax return. So if you saw them on March 15th, one you charged $200.
Yes, ma'am.
Correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And paid $200. And the other you charged nothing because you didn't do their taxes.
That's correct.
You did Mr. Marr's taxes.
I was doing them. I hadn't completed them. I told her on the 30th of March that I would have them complete the following day, which was March the 31st.
Yes.
And?
And this is when the occurrence happened with the dogs.
On what date?
March the 31st.
So you said you'd have them by March 31st, and they came to your house.
That's correct.
That's what we're here for. And your dog, one of your dogs, bit who?
Bit me.
Bit you. And you're suing for being bitten by the dog. You went to the hospital.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
And what do you want?
I want the hospital bills that was done for me.
What happened to you?
Shocked. I was in deep shock to see those dogs jumped on my mother-in-law and mauling at her. So the hospital admitted me as well.
I want you to tell me how you got bit by his dog.
Karen and I, or Mr. Marr and I, went to Mr. Jones's house because he had sent her a text that the taxes would be ready on the 31st.
On the 31st. So you went.
So we were together. We were in the area. It was on a late Saturday evening.
On the 31st?
On the 31st.
What time?
I would say approximately.
So you went to the house to pick up your taxes?
Right. Well,
what time was it?
It was at least 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
It was in the afternoon.
It was
so
in the
it was
afternoon.
5 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Taxes should have been ready. That's after business hours. So it was 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So you went there at 5 o'clock to pick up your taxes, which was supposed to be ready. And?
We called. We saw that the door, the inner door.
Not we saw, you.
Oh, I saw that the inner door was open. So we sat in the car for a while. Mr. Marr called to see.
Called
Mr. Jones to let them know that we were outside, but there was no answer. I think the voicemail picked up. So we sat there.
Just a second. You were home?
Yes, I was upstairs.
Just a second.
Yes.
So she didn't answer the phone. So you're
No,
sitting
well,
outside
no one answered,
in your
yes.
car, and this is your wife?
Yes, ma'am.
Your wife didn't answer the phone. You weren't home?
I was home.
And you didn't answer the phone?
No, I did not.
So it went directly to voicemail?
It did.
So after we didn't get a response from the voicemail, we decided, well, I said, well, the door...
No, not we decided.
I'm sorry. I saw that the door was open.
The inside door was open.
And I could see through the house.
Whether you could see through the house or not. During the phone call?
No.
No. That was
Don't...
Okay.
When I ask you something, then you'll answer me.
Okay.
Right now, I have that you heard the phone, you didn't answer it, and you were home.
It was his cell phone.
My cell phone. The phone wasn't on.
Who has a cell phone?
That would have been a problem for you if you run a business.
Yes.
That would have been a problem for you if your phone wasn't on, and if that's the only number they have for you.
Yes.
So you went in and you tried, and you went in and the dog bit you. You opened the door and the dog came out.
Well, actually, I didn't open the door. We were standing on the first step, which was the only step to get up on to knock on the door. So as we did, I was standing right there in front of the door. Mr. Marr was to my left. The dogs came, and I'm standing right in the middle, right there in the path of them, and they started to attack me.
What kind of
Mr. Marr
dogs?
was...
What kind of dogs?
They were boxers.
Where were you bitten?
I was bitten on my hand, my right breast, and my right side of my stomach.
You have a medical report for me?
I have them from...
I would like to see a medical report.
Yes. Okay, yes, I do. All of this, okay. And I have, the pictures are in there.
Listen, you had a dog bite on your left hand. That's what you had.
Yes, Ed.
That's what you had. That's what the doctors found when you went there.
Yes.
Weeks later, you complained about being bitten also on the breast. There's nothing in this. There's nothing in this initial report where the doctor examined you on an emergency basis where you were bitten on the breast.
I understand that, Your Honor.
Good.
But I did not realize that I had been bitten on the breast until after I had gotten home. I felt something.
Then you show me, just a second, then you show me something between March 31st and April 18th, which is the first note that is here when you went for something with a different doctor.
No, I'm sorry.
Just a second. Show me that you reported it to the emergency room.
Look on the report that says April 3rd. That was a follow-up to my doctor where I had told him I did not realize that I had been bitten on my breast, so therefore it wasn't mentioned in the emergency room. But April 3rd.
No. No, sorry. No. April 18th is the first time it says something about breast. You show me something April 3rd that says something about your breast on a follow-up. Show me. Need you. I'm not minimizing being attacked and being bitten. Being bitten, it wasn't a terrible bite, but being bitten by two dogs and frightened by them, I see something that said April 3rd that you said dog bites, hand bites, and then on April 18th was the first time I see a note about you saying anything about a breast. Yes. I may be wrong. Find something that said April 3rd.
I'm sorry, but I had not mentioned that in the emergency room because I did not realize.
I'm not talking about the emergency room. I'm talking about between the 31st and April 18th.
You have anything?
I have the April 3rd.
No, well, show me. I want to see.
On April 3rd.
I would like to see you saying anything about being bitten by your breast on April 3rd.
No, I guess not. I guess not. But I was.
Okay, well, we don't have it.
Show me.
I don't have it because I had not. I only mentioned the dog bites, but he just indicated that it was on my hand, which was on April 3rd.
Well, that's correct.
The 18th, right.
That's correct. 3 weeks later, you complained that it was on your breast. I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything. And I'm not minimizing I'm not minimizing the fact that. Okay, fine. May I see it, please? Do you have Medicare?
Yes, I do.
Is what you're telling me none of these expenses was covered by your Medicare?
Your Honor, when...
Just to answer my question, is what you're telling me...
I do have Medicare.
Yes.
And I had asked the hospital to send the particular bill that was in the emergency room to Mr. Jones.
Oh, well, that's your problem. So the answer is...
Yes.
The answer is you have Medicare, and you said to the hospital, you want to use my Medicare, send him the bill. And the hospital did that? Is that what you're telling me?
I don't know. No. I really don't know.
Let me tell you something. I know hospitals. I know hospitals. You can't say to a hospital when you go into an emergency room, I want to bill somebody else. There is not a hospital in this country that would accept that kind of a statement. I don't want to use my Medicare. I'm not giving you my Medicare card for this emergency visit. I want you to bill Mr. Jones. I haven't called Mr. Jones. You can call Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones doesn't say he's going to pay the bill. That's ridiculous.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I want you to look at me and tell me what you were doing on March 31st at 5 o'clock.
I was in my office watching television.
You were supposed to have her taxes ready.
Absolutely.
What were you doing watching television?
And later today...
This is my question. Houses. Did you ever have a concrete grinder in your backyard?
No.
Me neither.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Blanche Dawson and daughter-in-law Karen DeMar claim two dogs owned by their former tax preparer, Tyrus Jones Sr., attacked Blanche during a visit to his home.
Now, you're entitled to go to someone's house to pick up your taxes and not be attacked by his dog. You're not supposed to make a bigger thing out of it than it was. That's Your problem. You have to accept responsibility for the fact that your dog bit this lady, even on the hand, and you should have answered the door. You should have answered your phone. Did you have her taxes ready?
Judge Judy.
Just tell me whether you had her taxes ready
The
on
answer
March
is no.
Fine. And you were supposed to have her taxes ready on March 31st.
I didn't give her a time.
You were supposed to have...
She came unannounced, Judge Judy.
That doesn't matter. That's where you conduct your business. You, in effect, invite the public to your home because you conduct your business there. You left your inner door open, which is how the dogs got out.
The dogs didn't get out because of the door was open. Yeah. I have evidence.
Love to see it.
Yes. Okay, so I have the door open with the screen closed. There is no step to my... The only step is to step up into my house.
Which is
what are you telling me?
What I'm saying is...
She came
in the house.
And said hello.
She said hello. She stepped in the house, opened my door.
That is not...
And then the dog...
That is not correct.
She's been in my house 3 times. The first time I announced she came, okay, when I acknowledged that she was coming, I put the dogs up in the cage. When someone comes to our house, we put our dogs up in the cage. The second time she came, on the 24th of March, I was out of town. I had no knowledge that she was coming. When my wife looked out the door and saw them, my wife took the dogs and put them up in the cage. That's our practice. We have people come to our house. I have it chronologically so I can show you. The dogs in the outside of the house and the cage in the living room where we put the dogs.
So you put the dogs in the cage and...
And then we allow people to come in. On the third time, on March the 30th...
I want you to tell me what you were doing at 5 o'clock in the afternoon at your house on March 31st. I would like you to tell me what Look, I want you to look at me and tell me what you were doing on March 31st at 5 o'clock in the late afternoon, early evening, you and your wife.
My wife was upstairs. I was in my office watching television.
What were you doing watching television?
Just watching.
On March 31st?
Absolutely.
What were you doing watching television?
You're right. I was supposed to have her tax them, but I didn't tell her a time. They were going to be done.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,500. That's for both of you. We're done.
Thank you, Judge.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
They walked into my house knowing that I have dogs.
Their paws pushed open the door.
Came unannounced, and my dogs attacked.
I was in shock.
I just think they are out to get money.
I will never recommend anybody to do taxes with that gentleman.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Bradley versus Smith. Step forward.
Dayon Bradley is suing Daquan Smith for hospital bills and lost wages after he lost a digit on his finger while helping Daquan move equipment.
Mr. Smith, what kind of company do you have?
It's a construction company.
What's the name of it?
S&J.
How long have you had it?
8 years.
How many employees do you have?
Approximately 4 full-time employees, and then I have about 5 or 6 employees that I part-time.
Do you have workman's compensation for your 4 full-time employees?
Yes.
And your part-time employees?
Yes, I have workers' comp and general liability insurance for my company.
Mr. Bradley was injured while doing a job with you.
Well, Judge, we weren't working. We were at my house, and I had a machine that I was selling, and I have a picture of the machine. I'm sorry.
What equipment was it, Mr. Smith?
Concrete grinder.
This is my question, sir. I've had a lot of houses. Bird has had a lot of houses. Did you ever have a concrete grinder in your backyard?
No.
Me neither.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
We weren't working. We were simply putting the machine on the pallet.
It's either your home or your business. If it's your home, it's your homeowner's insurance. If it's your business, it's workman's comp.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Dayon Bradley says Daquan Smith owes for hospital bills and lost wages after he lost a digit on his finger while helping him move a piece of equipment.
So tell me what you were doing with the concrete grinder in your backyard. Stop playing with papers, Mr. Bradley.
I was set to ship the machine to Alabama that day, and UPS was coming to pick it up.
You were shipping the machine to Alabama?
Yes.
What were you shipping it to Alabama
I was selling it, and I had to ship it.
Just a second. What does a concrete grinder do?
It polishes concrete floors. Like if you go in Home Depot or a car dealership and you see the high polish on the concrete,
yes,
this machine does it. It was in my garage, and I brought it home.
Or in your garage?
Because I had to ship it. That's where I was shipping it from.
You brought it home from where?
From where I usually keep it in the truck inside of the lot where I park the truck.
Business.
Yes.
When Mr. Bradley had this accident and lost a digit of his finger, that was at your house, moving this piece of equipment that is a piece of construction equipment that you use in business, but you were selling it, correct?
Yes.
And this was a day during the week or on the weekend?
During the week.
Had you been working for Mr. Smith that week?
Yes, I was working for him that day.
How many days a week do you work for Mr. Smith?
3 to 5 days.
And what do you paid a day?
$15 an hour.
Now, this accident happened at your house. Is it a house that you own?
Yes.
Do you have homeowner's insurance?
Yes.
After this accident happened in your house that you say was not business related, did you report it to your homeowner's insurance?
No.
Why not?
Because it's like, Your Honor, we were friends. Even though he does work for me at times, we were lifting something to put it on, and he did the count, like we're counting, we're lifting it.
On what date did this happen, sir?
November 28th.
10 months ago? Where have you been since, sir? Did you see a lawyer?
Yes, I saw...
Just a second.
Yes, I did see a lawyer.
And what happened?
In the state of New Jersey, to see if he had, like, any business or any insurance
He
or
has
any...
insurance. Is that right?
Yes.
Who was your insurance carrier?
State Farm.
In what name?
It's in my wife's name. Her name is Tony.
I'm going to get you all the information, sir. Then I'm going to dismiss your case without prejudice. You can go get another lawyer and sue him for a lot more than you're going to get here.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, I strongly advise you to notify your homeowner's insurance, your business insurance. This is a business problem, do you understand? And he wasn't being your friend. You were paying him $15 an hour. So get it together, because he's going to sue you, not here. Now, do you understand?
Yes.
Get a lawyer. Now you know why they couldn't find anything. Tony, that's your wife's name?
Yes.
And he's going to turn over his tax ID number for his business. Will that be helpful to a lawyer?
I hope so. I'm not a lawyer.
Good. I hope it'll be helpful to a lawyer. What?
Your Honor, we weren't working. We were simply putting a machine on the pallet.
It's either your homeowner's insurance. If it's your business, it's workman's comp, because you pay him by the hour. We're done here. Do you understand?
Yes.
Perfect.
Judge, excuse me, step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I'm in total agreement with it.
It wasn't like we were working. He was just helping me put a machine on the pallet.
Upon lifting the machine, my finger got just snapped off.
I thought he had insurance.
Try to come to, you know, some kind of agreement.
It was a freak accident. You know, it wasn't intentional.
He lied to you, and you promised her nobody else would drive the truck.
His unlicensed friend got the keys.
What did he say to you?
He said, sure, you can drive as long as you do not go fast.
And the result was pretty predictable.
She crashed it into the school. How much is that damage?
A few dollars short of $10,000.
This time, the car was destroyed and the school was destroyed.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Amy Thompson is suing the parents of her son's friend, Lynn Burleson, and his ex-wife, Tiffany Burleson.
Order. All rise. It's case number 311 on the calendar, the matter of Thompson versus Burleson.
Thank you.
Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat, please.
Miss Thompson, which one of these two young men is your son?
Matthew's in the green.
You can stand up next to your mother. You're Haley?
Yes, ma'am.
Could you stand up next to your folks? Thank you. Neither one of you was present at the time that this accident took place.
No, Your Honor.
But according to what I read, your son was driving your car.
Yes, ma'am.
Which you let him take to school.
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of car is it?
It was a 2008 Dodge Ram quad cab.
And on the 27th of February of this year, you were driving the car to school.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you arrive at school without incident?
Yes, ma'am.
And you came out of school, and you know Haley.
Yes, ma'am.
Haley's a friend of yours?
Yes, ma'am.
Somehow, Haley got behind the wheel of Miss Thompson's car, was driving around the parking lot at school. Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
And crashed it. She crashed it into the school. So the car was totaled, and you are being held responsible as her parents, since she's a minor, for the damage that the truck caused to the school.
Yes.
How much is that damage?
Yes, ma'am. We've been paying on it monthly.
And how much did you pay for the truck that your son was driving?
We paid $7,500 for it.
And it's totaled.
Yes, ma'am.
So each of the parents is out well over the court's limit because I have a claim against Haley's parents for the value of the car, and they have a counterclaim, and their allegation is your son should not have let their daughter drive this car. They don't permit her to drive. She doesn't have a license, and therefore, owing to his actions, you are being held responsible by the school, which you've been paying this bill monthly.
Yes, ma'am.
And so they're counterclaiming. That's what this lawsuit is about. And your position is that Haley drove without your son's permission.
Yes, ma'am. I have witnesses who saw the interaction.
Haley.
Yes, Your Honor.
Prior to February 27th, 2018, had you ever driven plaintiff's truck before?
Yes, Your Honor.
Of course you have. How many times had you driven?
Once time prior to the incident.
Tell me when.
After youth group one evening.
And tell me the circumstances surrounding you driving the truck on that day.
He let me drive the truck around.
No, don't step. Not on February 27th, but the incident before when you drove the truck. Where were you both?
At church, at Fellowship Church.
You remember that?
Yes, ma'am.
So, do you want to tell me how she got possession of your truck?
After youth group, I allowed her to go sit in my truck because I like to stay afterwards and talk and play games with everyone. And I came out, and she had been driving it around the parking lot.
What do you mean you let her sit in your truck? What does that mean?
She would just go in there and...
Well, most people, when they park their truck wherever they are, they take the keys with them.
Yes, ma'am.
And since you're going to church, where do you live?
In Liberty Hill, Texas.
You didn't lock the car.
Probably not, no, ma'am.
Probably not. And so you had the keys with you, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, when she wanted to go and sit in the truck, you don't need the keys to go and sit in the truck. All you do is open the car and you can sit in the truck, right? It's not going to turn out well. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, ma'am.
So I don't care what you told your mother before.
He told me that he had allowed her to drive the truck on that day.
Fine, then why is he saying I told her she could sit in the truck?
Well, when... He told me that she...
Do you understand what I've just said to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Today, if he told you that he allowed her to drive the truck before, and today he said he allowed her, he was not telling me I allowed her to drive the truck. He said he allowed her to sit in the truck.
But then when he went to the parking lot, he actually allowed her to drive the truck down the road.
That's not what he said to me. I just want you to understand that.
Yes, ma'am. But initially he had said, you can go sit in my truck. And then he did let her drive it around the parking lot and down the road to the Tractor Supply, where he asked her to pull over. This was the statement he gave the sheriff.
I don't
because
care.
she wasn't a good driver. Okay, sorry.
So your son allowed somebody without a driver's license to drive?
He did not know at the time.
Don't tell me what he knew.
Okay. Can he tell you?
Don't tell me what he knew.
Okay.
He allowed somebody else to drive the truck. When you gave him the truck, did you tell him nobody else is allowed to drive the truck other than you?
Yes, Your
And
Honor.
I've had 5 children. They've all had cars. That's the drill. Nobody but you can drive the car. It's not your car, it's my car.
Yes, Your Honor.
My insurance. Nobody else can drive it. Yes. And he disobeyed you.
Yes, ma'am.
And you would not have found out about it but for the fact that on that prior occasion, did the police pull you over?
No, ma'am.
When did you tell the police about the prior incident?
At the incident at the school.
And tell me how that came about, that you told the police about that incident.
They'd asked me if she'd driven the car before, and I told them the
other time that you drove.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now I'd like you to tell me how you got possession of the car keys on February 27th of this year.
I asked him for them.
Where were you when you went?
We were in the football stadium watching a soccer game.
Together?
Yes.
And you asked him for the keys, and what did he say to you?
He said, sure, you can drive as long as you do not go fast.
You asked him for the keys. Didn't he say why do you want the keys?
He knew why.
No, don't tell me what he knew.
Yes, ma'am.
The question is, you were sitting and watching a game. You said, can I have the keys? You had driven the car before. The car is unlocked. And he handed you the keys.
Yes, ma'am.
What did you do when you got the keys?
I asked him, I was like, you're sure about this? And he goes, yes, just don't go fast.
What did you do?
I walked towards the baseball fields where the truck was parked, which isn't far from the stadium, got in the car, started it, drove around the baseball field to the stadium, and was driving down the bus lane, and that is when I crashed.
Were you going any place in particular?
I was going to park it over there. I was driving, just simply.
You were going to park it closer to where he was?
Yes, ma'am.
Had you told him that?
Yes, Your Honor.
When did you tell him that?
In the minute I said, do you want me to drive it back over there, like as in back to the baseball fields, or park it over here where we were located? And he said, over here's fine.
Now game with your friend Haley.
Yes, ma'am. So we were sitting watching the game, and she asked me if she could go get her bag out of my truck, because the track where she would throw shot put is very close to the baseball field. And after practice, she left her bag in there with some portable chargers and her shoes. And so she asked me if she could go get her bag and the portable chargers out of my truck. And since we were watching the soccer game, I didn't want to leave the game because there was a large group of us. So I gave her the keys to go get her bag. And
why would you need the keys to do that?
because the car in that incident was locked.
Really?
Yes.
Was the car locked?
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead.
So after about 20 minutes, I hadn't really realized that she hadn't come back yet. And
Why? Just a second. How did you get to the game?
I drove my car. It was after baseball practice.
And did you give her a lift?
From after school around to the baseball field, yes, ma'am.
And after the game, were you going home together?
No, ma'am.
I mean, you weren't going to drop her off or anything else?
I don't...
You're never going to think faster than where I'm going. Never.
Right.
After the game, were you going to drive her home?
No, ma'am.
Have you ever driven her home before?
Yes, ma'am, I had.
How many times had you driven her home before?
5 to 10 times.
What I'm trying to figure bag out of your truck before the game is over, if she was coming back. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Why would one want to go and get their shoes and their bag that they left in the truck in order to bring them in? Because she would, of necessity, if she was just going to get her bags, she would have to have brought the keys back to you, yes, which means she was bringing her shoes and her bag that she left in the truck initially.
Yes, ma'am.
Why would she go and bring that back? Had you discussed with Matthew his driving you home after the game?
No, Your Honor.
How were you getting home after the game?
I believe my dad was coming to pick me up that night.
So there might have been a reason why you went to get your bag from the car.
Yes, ma'am. But that's not what happened.
That's exactly what Matt told me.
Just a second.
I'm sorry.
I don't care. Do you know when you know a teenager is lying?
Your Honor, teenagers lie. I have 8 children.
Yeah.
But
when
this one is not lying today.
Well,
his story hasn't changed.
Just a second.
One does.
He lied to you. He lied to you.
He was disobedient.
Just a second. Not only did he lie to you, but he broke his promise to you, right? Twice.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
This could have turned out way different.
Let me tell you, could have turned out.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Amy Thompson says her son's friend, 17-year-old Haley Burleson, totaled his truck. Haley's parents, Lynn Burleson and ex-wife Tiffany, are countersuing for damaged property.
Okay, both of your children were irresponsible.
Yes, ma'am.
As a result of Mr. and Mrs. Burleson's child's irresponsibility, they're paying the school $10,000 because Haley could have just as easily crashed the car after the church group. Then she had permission. So that puts a certain onus on you because you've given your son the responsibility of a couple of £1,000 of what could be a lethal weapon.
Yes, ma'am. I feel like you're not hearing the whole story.
I know the whole story. This time, he got in trouble for it. You see, the last time he gave her permission, nobody knew, nobody was the wiser, and they were friends. This time, the car was destroyed, and the school was destroyed. Somebody want to show me a picture of the school? Is that what you're showing me?
Yes, we have a video of the accident.
I'd like
I
to
also
see.
have some photos of the truck if you'd like to see.
Yeah, sure.
Now, we've never seen this video. The school would not release it to us.
Well, I would like to see it.
Me
Wouldn't
too.
you?
Yes, ma'am. This could have turned out way different.
Let me tell you, it could have turned out way different. Miss Thompson, I'm not diminishing Mr. and Mrs. Burleson's responsibility for having a child who did the wrong thing because you knew, according to your parents' statement, they didn't give you permission to drive. They didn't get you a license for whatever reason. That was their choice. They didn't feel as if you were responsible enough, and you drove without permission. So I'm not diminishing that. That's your fault. That's your responsibility. And your parents have to assume the responsibility because you don't have enough money to pay this. And I guarantee you that they don't have an extra 10 grand floating around to pay for your irresponsibility. And I guarantee...
Neither do we.
Well, neither do you. That's why they're paying for it. It was their irresponsibility. On the other hand, Miss Thompson, you don't seem on this car. And if something bad happened to Haley as a result of this accident and it was your car, they would sue you.
Yes, ma'am.
And they would win. Now, your son has to accept responsibility because if he gave, let us assume, in the best possible light, I'm believing what he's saying, which I'm really not, but let's assume that I'm believing what he's saying based on his immediate past behavior in giving her the keys and letting her drive. It's not such a far stretch for her to say, you know what? I've driven the car before. It was fine. I'm going to bring the car closer to where we are. Now I have my things closer, and I'll give him back the car keys. Not as if he didn't let me drive it before. Let me drive it before. I was careful. Nothing happened to the car. I have the keys. I'm just going to drive it from the football field to the baseball field.
But, Your Honor, I have a witness that very evening who heard the whole interaction.
Oh, I would love to hear the witness who heard the whole...
had four...
Just a second. I would love to hear the witness who had a bird's eye view of the entire incident. Is that you?
Yes, ma'am.
Name.
My name's Grant, Your Honor.
Go.
Haley did not have permission.
Don't tell me.
He continues in a moment.
When we came back from Sonic, her stuff was still in the truck. I left my backpack in his truck.
I'm not there yet. I know you want to tell me the story so you don't forget what you remembered.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Amy Thompson claims her son's friend, 17-year-old Haley Burleson, totaled his truck when she drove it without permission.
Now, I want to know where you were seated.
I was sitting right next to him.
Just a second. You were sitting right next to whom?
Matt and Haley.
No, you couldn't have been sitting next to both unless you were sitting in the middle. Were you sitting in the middle?
No, ma'am.
So who were you sitting next to?
Matthew.
Who was sitting next to you?
My friend who was taking me home later that night, Pudge.
So you drove with him?
Yes.
Okay. And they drove together?
Yes.
So they had gone to...
So did you meet up with Matthew after practice?
Yes.
Where was he?
I didn't see him. I have no clue where he was at.
Was he at the game with you?
Later on, yes, he was.
Was he sitting next to Matthew?
He wasn't directly next to Matthew.
Who was next to Matthew?
There was a group of girls, and I don't remember who they were.
That refresh your recollection, Grant?
No, ma'am.
No.
Me, Matthew, and Pudge had went to Sonic, and she had asked to come with us after practice, and we told her no because her practice wasn't done. So when we came back from Sonic, her stuff was still in the truck. I left my backpack in his truck.
I'm not there yet. I know you want to tell me the story so you don't forget what you remembered. Do you understand?
Yes, sure.
I'm not there yet. Now, I want you to tell me at what point Matthew gave Haley the keys to his car in the conversation that you tell me that you overheard your friend Matthew and Haley having about the keys when you were sitting right next to him, not with a girl in between. Do you understand what I'm saying to you?
Yes, Your Honor.
Perfect.
Your Honor, I had asked Matthew for the keys first to go get my backpack out of his truck, and he told me, do not drive his truck.
Just a second. So you asked him for the keys.
Yes, Your Honor.
And did he give you the keys?
He gave me the keys.
Just a second. I'm not finished. So he gave you the keys?
Yes, Your Honor.
And did you get the backpack?
Yes, ma'am.
How heavy was your backpack?
Not that heavy.
When you went to get your backpack, did you see Haley's backpack?
Yes.
If I were to believe you, you were sitting right next to him, asked him for his keys, he gave you his keys, and you had a conversation. You said, I'm going to get my back. Wouldn't it strike you as logical that if Haley just wanted her backpack, she would have said, could you grab mine too?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, of course. And it would be logical then for Matthew to say, if you went, got your backpack, came back with your backpack, and then she says to him, it's the next quarter, now can I have the keys to go get my backpack? For Haley to walk that same distance that you walked from practice back to the field, the logical step was, he was going. Why didn't you tell him to get your backpack if you were going to the car? Wouldn't that sound logical to you?
Yes, Your Honor.
Sit down.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by...
Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Okay, you're going to pay for your own car, Miss Thompson. The Burlesons are paying for the damage that was caused by your son permitting their daughter to drive the truck when you clearly admonished him and made him promise not to do that. He did the wrong thing. If I believed what he says, which I don't, and I certainly don't believe him, if I believed what he says, there's nothing logical about it. First, one kid goes to get their backpack, then another kid goes to get their backpack. He had given Haley license to drive his car. There's any question that when she went to get the backpack, there was a conversation between the two of them. Did you want me to bring it up closer to where
Your
we
Honor,
were?
that's
I'm speaking.
true.
I'm speaking. So, you each have your own problems with your own children. You're responsible for driving the truck when your parents told you not to drive. Period. And you're responsible for letting somebody else drive the truck when your mother told you and you promised her nobody else would drive the truck. Got it? So pay for your own car and you pay for your own damage to the school. We're done. Thank you.
Parties are excused and they step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy...
A home seller renovates an agreement.
They would buy it for $135,000, which was your original deal, but they weren't going to pay $175,000. Are you out of your mind?
No.
Judge Judy.
She lied. The truth wasn't heard today.
Both kids were responsible, and she saw that.
I have all kinds of text messages of them promising to pay me.
In fact, we're paying the majority, which is $10,000 to the school.
We are not friends anymore.
Oh, no, we haven't been friends because he's harassed me and bullied me no matter what, all over social media, all over in school, and has made my life miserable in high school.
The dog was severely injured.
A threat follows a mauling.
I did tell him that if this dog comes back over on our place, I'm going to have to kill it.
Is his exotic dog a predator?
Do you know that it is illegal in Australia to keep a dingo as a domestic pet?
He's not a full-blooded dingo.
Why in the world would you keep a dog like that?
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Janet Heston is suing her neighbor, William Large, for vet bills after his pet dingo attacked her Australian shepherd.
Order. All rise. It's case number 316 on the calendar in the matter of Heston versus Large.
Thank you.
Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat. You're welcome, Judge.
Miss Heston, it is your claim that Mr. Lodge, who is a neighbor of yours, has a dog that is vicious.
Yes, ma'am.
And
Yes, Honor.
has, on two separate occasions, one last year and one more recently, attacked dogs that belong to, I think, your children.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Lodge says that he doubts that the act was committed by his dog last year, because if it was, which was on your property, the other of his dogs, which sort of suggested in your complaint that might have some truth to it. And Mr. Lodge said on the second occasion, your dog also was off the leash and down a country road, and his dog also was off the leash, and they got into a fight, and you tried to run his dog down. He, I believe, has a counterclaim for some nonsense about having to put in a security camera because he's afraid that you're going to kill his dog. So I have this question for you, sir. Do you know how many breeds of dogs there are in this country?
No, I do not.
Several hundred. Now, I'm old. Bird is not quite as old as I am, but if I keep still, he's catching up with me. I've never asked him this question, but I'm going to ask him this question because I, in all my years, have never known anyone who owned a dingo. Have you known anyone that owns as a pet a dingo? That is an Australian dingo. Yes, it's like
the dingo,
coyote. It's like a coyote.
Yeah.
Did you know anybody ever?
No.
You see, so when I read your answer, you said I have an Australian dingo. So I know how to work my iPad, and I looked it up. To keep a dingo as a domestic pet. Did you know that?
Yes, I did.
Well, then why would a seemingly otherwise normal person have one?
I don't.
What use? Maybe I read it wrong. My Australian dingo dog. That's what you said in your answer.
He's not a true blood, Your Honor.
All I know, sir, is what you swore to in your answer, which is my Australian dingo dog never attacked her granddaughter's dog in December. That's what you said. You have a picture of your dog?
No, I don't.
Yes, Your Honor.
I'd like to take a look at it. Well, that's what they look like on the internet. Just like that.
I can't see it from this distance.
Now, I don't want you, Miss Heston, because you chose when there was an attack a year ago not to get involved with Mr. Lodge. I don't know why. I want you to tell me what happened recently with your dog.
Recently, I was going down our driveway and the other boxer down to my children's house, and Chloe stopped at our driveway, end of our driveway. I turned onto...
Chloe is
a miniature Australian Shepherd.
You have a picture of that dog?
Yes, I do. Circle Chloe. I turned onto the blacktop road, and I was watching her, and she was sitting there at our driveway, and I started down the road just a little ways, and I looked at my rearview mirror, and his dog had attacked Chloe, threw her up in the air, and Chloe kind of ran into going to our driveway, and he attacked her again. And I was in process of backing up at that point, and when I backed up, he took off to his house, and I ran him to his house and told him that his dog had just attacked our dog. And I was very upset, and I did tell him that if this dog comes back over on our place, I'm going to have to kill it because he is an attacked dog. And he informed me that if our dogs come over to his house, he's going to kill our dogs. And he asked me, he said, what do you want me to do about it? And I left.
Did you ever tell Mr. Lodge about the prior attack on your dog?
On Thumper?
Yes.
No, ma'am, because when
But you never did?
No.
Did you ever have a conversation with him about this dingo coming over to your property?
No, Your Honor.
You didn't?
No.
And from what you're telling me, first thing I have to tell you is I feel sorry for the dog because the dog was severely injured. But since you know that Mr. Lodge has this wild animal in his home, why in the world would you let your dog out, knowing that there was a prior incident with another dog that caused serious injury with another one of his dogs?
Well, Your Honor, we live in the country, and we have no leash law in the country, and dogs roam free. And our dogs go from our house to our children that live about a fourth of a mile from us, and they roam. And we have not had any trouble with his dog other than when he did Thumper. And he plays with my daughter's big dogs, but he is a bully to the little dogs.
Then I would say to you that that's your fault. I mean, I know you live in the country, and unless you can get animal control to take this dingo, if it is, which it looks like, and which he describes it as a dingo, which is unlawful to have as a domesticated pet in its country of origin, it's like having, like my saying, you know what, I think we're going to take a coyote and make it into a domestic pet that I'm going to keep in my house around my family and my children. I mean, bad enough the morons who have pit bulls. But to take a wild dog...
Your Honor, I did not know. I'm sorry. I did not know that it
was a dingo. It looks like a dingo. I looked up the Australian dingo, and that's what it says. It says it's a feral dog that is against the law to have as a domesticated pet in Australia. Why in the world would you keep a dog like that?
He just came up
What do you mean he just came up?
He just came up to our property. He looks like a dingo, so that's what I called him. But he's not. He's not a full-blooded dingo.
How do you know that?
Because the government rules are such that he can't have one.
Listen, I can't help you. Your dog was off the leash outside of your control.
But, Your Honor, our dog, Chloe, she is a cattle dog, and that's what we have is cattle. And our dogs, she runs loose.
If his dog came on your property...
He did come on our property.
Just a second. If you said, my dog was on my property, on my grass, his dog came onto my property, this dog, I'm talking
Yes, Your
about this
Honor.
dog,
Yes.
not Thumper. But what you said was, I drove away, the dog was on my driveway, and the next thing I looked back, and his dog was throwing my dog up in the air, and she was running back to the driveway, which is what you said.
Well, to the driveway back to our house, yes, ma'am.
Well, no, what you said was that she was running back to the driveway.
She was in the driveway when he got her the first time, and then when he bit her, then threw her up in the air, she ran further over into the driveway, and he got her. The
dog was, because if his dog came on your property and caused damage, then he's responsible.
Okay, I was right here coming out of the driveway, and I was heading this away, and Chloe was right here, and his dog came out of his driveway and came, I guess, down this side of the road, went across and attacked her right in our driveway.
Okay, so that's the defendant's house, and you were leaving your house?
Yes, Your Honor.
Show me your house.
My house is right here.
And you were driving down your road?
Yes, Your Honor. I was going this way, and I did not see his dog at all. I guess he came this way. He went across.
Where was your car when you saw the dog being attacked?
Just right through here. I had not gone very far up the road because I was looking in my side rearview mirror.
The last time you looked at the dog was on your driveway?
Yes, Your Honor.
Remember, you're under oath. Show me with your finger where you saw your dog.
I saw the dog right here.
Okay.
On our driveway.
Did you see his dog coming?
No, Your Honor, I did not.
So you don't know where his dog was?
No, Your Honor, I do not. His dog had to have came from his house this way because I was driving this way, and the dog did not come on the left side of me.
Are there woods where it can go?
There's a bar ditch over here.
A what?
A grass between the road and the fence.
Whose fence?
Mr. Large's fence, right here.
So he has a fence,
yes,
but it doesn't contain the dog?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Why do you have a fence, Mr. Large?
Keep critters out.
In?
It does.
But your dog got out?
Yeah, the gate was open. He was right there, and when...
The gate was open. Go over and show me where the gate was open.
I have a gate right here.
Why was it open?
Well, my friend was in here working on his car, and I was right here with him. That's why the gate was open.
The gate was open, and your dog got out through that gate?
Yes. The dog was sitting right there at the corner of the blacktop.
Okay, so the dog was sitting, and? And
she was driving this way, leading him imagining a lot of dogs barking going down this way, and one of her dogs came over and nipped at him and took off, and my dog looked at me and looked at them, and he ran right after him, and he caught him somewhere down in here.
Can I see your vet bills, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Step back. Mr. Large, you're going to have to keep this dingo on your property, because otherwise you're going to be paying a lot of vet bills and more. When you keep a potentially dangerous animal, potentially, and so far, according to what you already attacked, 2 smaller animals. She's pretty honest. She said your dog gets along okay with big animals that are the same size because it's an even match, but tends to not be okay with smaller animals. The other animal that she says that I'm not considering was a Pomeranian, which is a much smaller animal. This is not that kind of a small animal. Probably weighs about 30 pounds.
He doesn't weigh that much, Your Honor. But the reason we put Thumper is in there is because we didn't give him Thumper's bills or say anything to him because several years before that, Mr. Large had another incident with another dog at my daughter's house, and my daughter had asked me not to confront him with Thumper's bills because Mr. Large had threatened to kill my daughter's family. And so that was part of the reason that we did not go ahead and present him with the bills on Thumper.
Well, maybe this will get his attention.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
I'm looking at this picture. It's an absolute nothing. It's a wreck.
That's what it has to look like before it's restored.
That's
Everything is
what it
taken up.
looked like when you brought it into him.
In the pictures that I gave you.
Just a second. I'm looking at his
Thank you.
pictures. They're much better than yours.
Real cases, real people.
Neighbor William Large owes for vet bills after his pet dingo attacked her Australian shepherd.
Now, if you are foolish enough to have a non-domesticated animal as a pet, then you have to tell your friends who are using your property to keep the gate closed. And I would actually contact animal control and let them know that you believe, and according to Mr. Large's sworn statement, his dog is a dingo, which there may be a law prohibiting him from keeping that as a domesticated animal on his property. They will at least pick up the dog and they can do a quick DNA test and come up with the answer as to whether or not this dog is a dingo or not.
Yes, Your Honor.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $514. Your counterclaim for having to put in security cameras is dismissed. We're done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I am pleased with it. I think that she did well.
It's not a dingo.
We wish that T would do something with the dog.
It has an appearance of a dingo.
Good neighbors.
Possibly be friendly with,
That's the bottom line.
somebody that lies like that.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of King versus Belts. Step forward.
David King is suing custom car painter Jeffrey Belts for the return of money he paid to refurbish a
old car, 1967 Pontiac, that needed body work and paint. You took the car to the defendant to fix. You agreed on a price of $6,500 to do the work on the car. You paid him the $6,500. He worked on the car, and you picked up the car, and now you're dissatisfied. You want the money back for fixing it, or at least the court's maximum of $5,000. When did you purchase the car?
I purchased the car approximately 10 years ago in New Jersey.
From whom?
From a gentleman named Al.
And at that time, how much did you pay him for the car?
I paid approximately $2,400 for the car.
Was it drivable?
No.
Did you fix it so that it became drivable?
Well, that was the idea.
So is what you're telling me that for 10 years, the car just sat?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You're looking through it too fast, sir.
No, I mean, I've seen a lot of these photos before, but...
That's $6,500 worth of work.
Well, if it were done correctly, it would be, but it wasn't done correctly.
Did you inspect it before you had it towed someplace else?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
David King is suing custom car painter Jeffrey Belts for the return of money he paid to refurbish a Pontiac GTO.
When did you...
In New Jersey.
Was it drivable?
No.
Did you fix it so that it became drivable?
Well, that was the idea.
So is what you're telling me that for 10 years, the car just sat?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you brought it to the defendant?
Correct.
In what month?
In April 21st, 2016.
So it was sitting in your backyard, in your house?
In a friend's garage.
So you brought it to the defendant 2 years ago?
Correct.
And when did you pick it up from him?
October 23rd, 2017.
So he worked on it for a long time?
Yes.
Or stored it? Do you have a photograph of the car when you brought it into him?
I do.
I'd like to take a look at photograph when you brought it into him. By the way, you towed it to him, correct?
Correct. Yes, this is a close-up view of the rear of the vehicle.
Now, I'd like to take a look at the whole car. Do you have a picture of the whole car? You do?
I have pictures.
I'd like to see it.
These are actually, this is when it came in a chronological through when it left.
Oh, it was really just a shell. It was a nothing.
Yes.
Oh, I'm looking at this picture. It's an absolute nothing. It's a wreck.
Well, that's what it has to look like before it's restored.
Just a second. That's
Everything is
what it
taken up.
looked like when you brought it into him.
It's, when it left.
Just a second. I'm looking.
In the pictures that I gave you...
Just a second. I'm looking at his
Thank
pictures.
you.
They're much better than yours.
Okay.
Now, did you drive it out of his shop?
No.
It was towed out of his shop?
Yes.
To where?
It was towed to another friend that was going to hold on to it for me until it could be worked on again.
Were you supposed to do anything other than the body work?
No, it wasn't a restoration. I was commissioned to put the quarter panels on and paint the exterior
Well,
and interior
I
of
see
the
what
car.
you did. I'm going to show these pictures to the plaintiff. But you weren't commissioned to do the motor, to make it
Oh,
runnable.
no.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're looking through it too fast, sir?
No, I mean, I've seen a lot of these photos before, but...
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
You're looking through it too fast, sir?
No, I mean, I've seen a lot of these photos before, but...
Okay. That's $6,500 worth of work.
Well,
Did you inspect it before you had it towed someplace else?
well, when we came to pick
Just
the
a
car
second.
up, yes.
And you took it someplace else,
Yes.
and you picked it up on October 23rd, 2017?
Yes.
When did you contact the defendant to indicate to him that for some reason you were not satisfied with his work?
I called him May 21st, 2018 at 9:24 in the morning.
So between October 23rd, 2017 and May 21st, 2018, after you had paid the defendant, you had no contact with him?
Well...
Is what, not a well, that's either, no, I did have contact with him or I did not have contact with
Well,
him.
once I picked the car up, I did not have contact with him.
Between October 23rd, 2017 and May, almost 7 months. Is that correct?
Yes.
Too much time. Your case is dismissed. We're done.
Some time was spent trying to
We're
make
done.
her straight.
We are done. Thank you. Bye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
Because he was a mutual friend, and we decided he was the best person for the job.
They brought me a car that obviously needed a ton of work.
When I saw the finished product.
So when they brought it over, I did what I was supposed to do.
The trunk deck lid doesn't close. The rear quarter panels aren't.
I wasn't.
The rear window pan is too high.
I was to put on the quarter panels, paint the outside of the car.
A final restored muscle car could be worth upwards of $35,000, $40,000 to $50,000.
There was some other issues. They were aware of it. They were going to take care of that at the other end, not with me.
I'm going to have to probably scrap it.
Always have a contract from now on.
Was Miss Trujillo the only adult in the house?
Yes, she was the one in charge of everything.
A nanny doesn't complete the job.
I ended up taking care of his little boy that's 9 years old.
So why did you stop working for him?
His daughter kicked me out of their house.
That's false.
Then,
I'd get back and help my son.
a dad's epic journey home.
I was in Alaska. He's special needs. His life's in danger. Somebody's not right there with him.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Kelly Clark is suing his former employee, Mercedes Trujillo, for causing damage to his BMW.
Order. All rise. It's case number 314 on the calendar, the matter of Clark versus Trujillo.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn.
You know Mr. Clark.
My father actually knew him from high school, so I ended up working for him and taking care of his little boy that's 9 years old.
How long have you been working for him?
I worked for him since October of 2017 till about September 2018.
When did you borrow his car?
At the beginning of September.
Had you ever borrowed his car before?
Yes.
How many times?
I couldn't even count how many times.
But often?
Yeah.
Did you
Before
ever
I bought
use
a
his
car.
car when you were taking care of his son?
Yes.
With his permission?
Yes.
So far, is all of that correct, Mr. Clark?
Yeah, she did. As far as my personal car, she didn't really borrow it much. There was a van that I had for my son that she would actually use.
But your personal car she never used?
No.
Is that correct?
No.
The personal car was the BMW?
Yes.
Tell me when and under what circumstances before September of this year that you used his BMW?
It was times like when we were on our way to Canada, he would make me run to like Food Town, which is a little grocery store.
Where do you live? In what state do you live?
I lived at his house in Utah with him.
In Utah?
Yes.
Just the two of you?
No, it had his girlfriend, daughter, son, and all his employees.
And what was he doing in Canada?
He traveled from Canada and Alaska because he owns properties out there.
And you would go with him?
Sometimes.
And when you went with him, he took the BMW?
No. When I took the BMW to drop off bills, and then I came back and went in the RV.
How many times did you do that?
It was only a couple of times with that car.
So only a couple of times that you drove the BMW?
That one, yes.
But you drove the other car frequently?
Oh, yeah.
Now, you asked to borrow the car in September of this year.
Actually, he offered the car.
Well, the only way he offered the car is if he knew you needed the car.
Yes.
It's like, well, he offered me a loan, but nobody offers you a loan. Like, I wouldn't go up to Bird next Wednesday and say, would you like a loan? I would only ask Bird if he would like a loan if at some point he or through an intermediary said he needed money. Then I would say, Bird, I understand you need money. Would you like a loan?
Yes.
So somehow, somehow he knew that you wanted to borrow his car.
I never wanted to borrow it. It's just my car wasn't registered, so he offered to let me take his car to Lake Powell.
Okay. It's clear she drove your car with your permission.
Yeah, can I clarify one thing?
What?
There's two BMWs involved. The one that she is talking about that she used other times is one that she convinced me to sell to her. The BMW that we're here today on, she didn't use that car.
All I'm suggesting is, over the course of a year, without incident.
My BMW, I sold her a couple times she used through the course of the year. Brody's van was what she used other than that.
What I'm telling you, she drove your cars,
yes,
both the BMW and the van, frequently, dozens of times, without incident. Sufficiently so that when she was going on this little weekend trip, she borrowed your car with your permission.
Yes.
And it is your claim that when she returned the car to you, it was damaged.
Yes.
So, Ms. Trujillo, we're going to come to you. Where were you going and when were you going?
I was going to Lake Powell, I believe September 3rd or 4th. I'm not too positive on the dates. And
for how long?
For 2 nights. I was just going.
Did you have any difficulty driving to Lake Powell?
No. When I first got the car from Casey, his witness, there was a tire.
Casey? That would be you.
Yes. When I got the car from him, there was a tire light that was on, so I got out and checked all the tires to make sure it was fine, and it was all fine.
You didn't check them by going in and measuring the air with one of those wackadoodles?
No,
you know?
I didn't
You
do
didn't.
that.
But you just looked around?
Yeah.
Like a girl would do. Well, they don't look flat, they're fine. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So tire light, well, you should know. It's not right with the tire. The car is not trying to trick you.
Well, with BMWs, lights are always on. It's a glitch constantly.
Is there a problem with the tire?
She actually, there's a bad sensor on the tire, and I thought she knew about that sensor, but Casey knew about it, other people knew about it. It's been just a sensor that I just haven't replaced, and I've had it checked out.
So it's fine?
Yes.
Next, so the tire light was on?
Yes. So I got out and checked them, but I did text Kelly, making sure like the oil and tires were fine. He did confirm that they would be fine, so.
Well, why would you test for the oil and everything else?
Well, I texted that before, because when you go on longer trips, you need to make sure the oil's fine in the tires.
Why?
It's
Why would
just
you?
car maintenance, I think.
Maybe. Would you do that?
Sure.
Oh. If a car is supposed to have oil, it has oil. That's it. Get in the car and you drive it.
You want to make sure that it's the proper level of oil.
Anyway, what year car was this?
What year?
2008.
So it's 10 years old.
Yes.
So you had no trouble driving there. Did you have any trouble driving back?
There wasn't any trouble, but an ABS light came on, so I pulled over and I got out of the car. I made sure I popped the hood to see if anything was wrong. I checked the brakes.
ABS?
Yeah, it's like a brake light, I guess. I looked it up and it said that it's a BMW glitch, and
Okay.
I know.
So that you saw an ABS light?
Yeah. Yes.
Any other problems with it?
No.
And you dropped it off on the 6th?
It was probably the 6th or 7th.
When did you stop working for Mr. Clark?
It was probably 10 days after that.
Did you have an argument over the car?
No.
So why did you stop working for him?
His daughter actually kicked me out of their house, which then fires me.
Was Mr. Clark at home between the 6th and the 10th?
No, he was in a part of Alaska that had no service.
Do you know why your daughter fired her?
She never got fired. That's false. I was in Alaska. She was the one in charge of my son. We were under a very strict contract because he's special needs. His life's in danger if somebody's not right there with him. Full-time
How old is your
oxygen,
daughter?
GJ. My daughter's 15. Well, she just turned 16, actually.
So was Miss Trujillo the only adult in the house?
Yes, she was the one in charge of everything.
How old are you, Miss Trujillo?
I'm 20, but...
Okay, so she's 20, your daughter is 16. When you came home, she wasn't there anymore.
Well, I found out while I was in Alaska because we had to scramble out of the bush and we had to get out and I had to get back and help my son.
Do you want to tell me the circumstances surrounding you being thrown out by his daughter?
Yeah, so me and her were having arguments and just little drama things because her boyfriend came to town, and 15-year-olds when their boyfriends, you know. So I told her, I was like, I don't want to go to Alaska, and then she told me just...
What?
I had to go with him to watch his little boy. And with the drama between him, or his girlfriend and his daughter, I just thought it was too much, and I said I didn't want to go, and that's when she kicked me out.
Where was his girlfriend?
With him. The drama happened before that.
I had to fly her home. I had to fly her home because of my son and to have somebody
that's a
there.
good idea.
Oh, yeah.
It's very difficult to deal with a 15, 16-year-old teenager and a 20-year-old nanny.
Yeah.
That's
thought I had
really
it
an
under
interesting
control.
combo.
Yep.
In Utah. Utah?
Utah. And
Utah.
I can clarify a little of that, how it ended, if you want me to. That's up to you.
No. What your claim is that Miss Trujillo damaged your car. I'm waiting for evidence.
Do you want me to go? I've got stuff for you for sure.
Well, you weren't there.
Oh, okay.
You weren't there when she came home with the car. Who was there when she came home with the car?
My girlfriend, Michaela Jensen.
Where is she?
She couldn't be here because she's with my son. She had to. The only person I had.
Who is here when she brought the car home?
My mother.
You were there when she brought the car home?
No, I wasn't there.
No, she says she wasn't there when she brought the car home. Your daughter was there when she brought the car home, and your girlfriend was there when she brought the car home.
My girlfriend was in Alaska still.
Fine. Only your daughter then was there, and your son. And then she left on the 10th. You came home, and you found the car damaged.
Car keys, so she had both keys. When she had dropped the ball on Brody and wasn't showing up, and I scrambled to get Michaela home, when Michaela got home, she needed to have a vehicle. So she went to use the car. She had to get a hold of Mercedes. Mercedes then brought her the key up, and that's when everything surfaced.
I don't know that, sir, and you don't have a witness to prove that.
She did sign to do a phone thing if we need to. It's just I had nobody to care for my son to bring her here. There was no way.
Can't help you. Should have brought your daughter.
Well, she's actually, I didn't think she was of age, plus she's on a cruise. Timing was real bad on that. She's on a cruise right now.
She's on a cruise?
Yes.
Yes, that's where I'm going. Your case is dismissed. We're done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I loaned out a vehicle that was severely damaged.
It's ridiculous.
Cost me over $5,000 to fix.
Like a week later, I got told that there's all these damages.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Judy versus Castro. Step forward.
Jasmine Judy is suing her ex-boyfriend, Rosdy Castro, for his share of a loan to take online classes and for airfare to Mexico.
Ms. Judon, you and the defendant were in a relationship which terminated when?
In July of this year.
At what point did you take out this loan for classes?
That loan?
No, that's not a we. That would be a you. You took out the loan.
Well, we agreed on it, taking out the loan together.
You took out whose name is on the paperwork?
Mine, but we took it out together in agreement.
No, your name is on the loan. When did you take out the loan?
Okay, in on May 22nd.
Of what year?
Of 2017.
And the loan was to pay for classes?
Yes.
What kind of classes?
Finance class.
What kind of work do you do?
I'm a server at a restaurant.
Is that what you're still doing?
Yes.
And what kind of work do you do?
I'm a bartender and server.
And these classes in finance, is it classes that you attend? Do you do it online? How do
everything was done online, and everything was done with a professional via, like...
Online?
Online. So there was logins and everything.
Did you finish these classes?
We did finish the classes.
What were you doing before you took the classes?
I was still a server.
And you're now a server?
I'm still a server.
So you're still a server. So
yes.
You finished the classes, you're still a server?
Yes.
And you took these classes?
I attended a few of them, yes.
You attended all of them?
Just a second.
I sat with her in a few of them.
Just a second.
You sat at all of them.
You interrupt, you're gone.
I'm sorry.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
How much was the whole thing online?
The online course, he negotiated the price down to about $10,000.
I didn't negotiate anything.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Jasmine Judy says her ex-boyfriend, Rosdy Castro, owes for his share of online finance classes and airfare to Mexico.
Now, you took these classes?
I sat on the film with her, yes.
Great. And you started out, you were a bartender?
No, I was a server when I met her.
Server. And now you're a bartender?
Right.
That has nothing to do with finance, right?
It does not.
So I gather these classes that you took were worthless in finding either of you a job, especially you, in finance.
Well, we wanted to pursue more, just to find more things that we can do to further our finances together. As far as living as a couple, we wanted to eventually get out of serving, at least I did, and to just further our education on how we can better handle our finances.
You know, I'm not a huge fan of online. That's just my thing. First, they got you this class. You took a few for free.
Yes.
And then they said, oh, well, if you take a lot more, you really be successful. So how much was it?
Initially, the class was free, like you said. And so then we attended that, and then we agreed to pursue it further.
How much was the whole thing online?
About $10,000.
I didn't negotiate anything.
You negotiated a price down to $10,000?
You negotiated the price down to $10,000 because initially when we went to the course and we took the classes, it was after the 3-day classes.
I mean, you go to a place to take the 3-day classes?
We went
so they get
like,
you?
It's a
they
seminar.
get you by coming to a place, and then they say you can take the whole thing in your living room.
So it was a 3-day course, and then
for free?
No, that was a $250.
How does that translate into $10,000?
So I'm getting there. So after the 3-day course for $250, you were able to pursue it further, and that they gave us prices for further classes. One was like $15, $20, and then some odd, like, high price. I don't know. It was ridiculous. He showed me the price, and I was like, I can't do that. The next thing I know, he's talking to the same advisor, and he comes up to me and is like, babe, come on, let's do it. I just negotiated down the price to $10,000. I'm just like, okay, that's cool. I even have a statement from the advisor.
Negotiate something?
You did. I don't know.
Don't give me a statement from the advisor.
So he
Don't give me a
negotiated
statement from the advisor.
Okay,
so you
that's
signed up for these classes, and that was May of 2017?
May 22nd of 2017, yes.
And when did you finish the classes?
June, the classes started, and they lasted 6 weeks.
6 weeks for $10,000?
You know, I wouldn't have, I wouldn't have done anything like that had I didn't have his support. It wouldn't have gone that way.
So you want him to pay for half the classes?
I mean, because he took him with me. He's the one that said, like, hey, let's do it. He's the one that negotiated down the price with the advisor. So I'm just like, okay, we have each other's mutual support, so therefore we can do it.
So far, he's taken the classes with you. Great. Let's say he sat with you and took every class.
He had interest in it as well.
Great. He had interest in it.
Yes.
He had an interest in it. He even negotiated the price down.
Yes.
He even said to you, come on, babe, let's do this.
Okay, so that seems like someone who wouldn't, you know, I'm the one.
Just a second. We're not at a point where he's responsible for half your loan.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
There has to be some indication from him that there was an agreement with you that he was going to share the cost of this loan with you. Do you understand?
Yes.
All right. So I taught you something about finance, and it didn't cost you $10,000.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Jasmine Judy says her ex-boyfriend, Rosdy Castro, owes for his share of online finance classes and airfare to Mexico.
Okay, go ahead.
He actually ran his credit before mine. And then when his credit bounced back, when he's saying that couldn't be approved, then, okay, whose credit is left? Mine. That's why my name is in it.
Just a second. Let's say all of that is true. We're missing an element here.
Of when he negotiated the loan?
How can you negotiate something like that?
You did. It was $15,000 before, and then you negotiated down to 10. You tell me how you negotiated it.
Miss Judy.
I got skills.
Goodbye, everybody.
So,
do you understand? Okay. When did you sign the loan note?
When we were talking with the advisor.
So that was in May?
In May.
And when was the first payment due?
The first payment was due on the 22nd of June.
Who made that payment?
I did. Next month, he made the payment.
In July, did you make the payment?
I can't recall.
In August, who made the payment?
August, we both made the payment. So
No. I want to see each month that you paid the loan. The loan was how much a month?
$309 about.
Well, you actually took out a loan for $12,200.
Yes, because that was the loan. That was the minimum that the bank would allow.
Well, what'd you do with the rest of the money?
We put it towards a monthly payment. So if you see, like, some months down, it's like a $2,000 payment.
Where's your bank statement?
I don't have one.
Get it.
On my phone?
I don't care to go to this loan. Now, I see when hers comes out, but there are months in between when there's nothing. So I have to assume that if there's nothing, that means you paid the months that are not here, which looks like almost every other month.
Mm-hmm.
That's a not a huh-huh.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, would it be a fair statement that until you broke up, you were paying every other month?
I was helping her financially.
No, it's not what I said. I didn't say helping her financially. I said paying the $155 a month.
Helping her, yes.
That's all I wanted to know.
No.
So that is some indication, Miss Juden, that there was an agreement that he would share the loan with you.
Yes.
You see, do you understand?
Yes.
There has to be some indication from him that there was an agreement with you, a contract, that he was going to share the cost of this loan with you. By him paying every other month, that is evidence of his intent to pay half the loan.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand?
Yes.
All right. So I taught you something about finance, and it didn't cost you $10,000. So what's left on the loan?
So we had a trip to Mexico.
Forgetting. How much is left on the loan?
Balance on the loan today is $6,598.69.
When did he stop making payments?
He stopped making payments on July 15th of this year.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,500. We're finished. Thank you very much.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
She ruined it.
We just went in two different directions.
She cheated on me.
Things were just going bad, especially for him and trust.
Not only once.
I asked him to forgive me because I did love him at the time.
She told me the first time, and I went through her phone and looked the second time.
I guess his trust still wasn't 100% back on me.
I just want to move on.
I'm not going to do it at all, unless it's in both of our names.
You try to hustle them.
I'm trying to make a living, Your Honor.
A car flipper in a fix with a mechanic shop.
You say, I'm not paying my bill, my car's for free. A couple of $1,000s worth of fixing that you want for nothing.
But looking for a discount backfired.
I was arguing with Jeff, and that's when Ed comes out with a pipe and says, leave my dad alone. Next thing you know, I'm on the ground.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judy.
Lawrence Pearl is suing auto shop owner Jeff Bloom and his son Ed for damaging his car and for an assault.
Order. All rise.
It's case number 305 on the calendar, the matter of Pearl versus Bloom.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Mr. Pearl, you brought your car into the defendant's shop, a car that you intended to flip for mechanical work on the car, perhaps some body work on the car, I don't know. But it was your intention to make money. That's what you do, to make money. And when it was time to pick up your car, there was some sort of a kerfuffle at the shop. You allege that the defendant and his son assaulted you. You want to be compensated for that assault. And you also say that there was some damage to your car during the course of this kerfuffle that you want them to be responsible for. The defendants say that actually you started the kerfuffle at the shop when you came to pick up the car. They are suing you for an unpaid bill for the car because you didn't pay to have it fixed, for storing the car for an extensive period of time, and for an assault, although neither one of you were injured. Is that correct? Right. Good. All right. So, Mr. Pearl, how long have you been in this business of
15 years.
And how many times have you used the defendant's firm to fix up cars?
About 5.
That's 5 cars excluding this one or including this one?
Probably including this one.
So 4 other cars.
Maybe 5.
Let's say
So
5
6.
others.
Yes.
Now, I assume that since you look like a relatively intelligent man, you would not have returned 6 times unless you were satisfied the first 5 times.
Well,
That's not a well. If you say, no, I wasn't satisfied, then I'll go
no,
further.
I wasn't satisfied.
Then my next question to you is, if you weren't satisfied the first 3 times, why did you go back again?
I was dealing with their mechanic who had had his own shop up until May. And then at that time or sometime before then, he stayed at the shop for about a month and a half. All my dealings were with Lyle. That's the owner. The mechanic.
No, they're the owners.
Of the shop, correct.
Where he was working.
Correct.
And you understood that he worked for them, even though previously he may have had his own shop, and you dealt with him independently.
Correct. And
correct. Just
can I
a
say
second.
something about that?
No. I'm getting it.
Yes, ma'am.
And then Lyle no shop.
Correct.
Now, when did you bring the subject car into the defendant's shop?
I originally gave it to Lyle after I purchased it in March.
Just a second.
Under the contract. Go ahead.
Joan?
Sorry.
Is what you're telling me that when you brought this car, what kind of car was it?
98 C-Class Mercedes.
When you brought this old Mercedes in to be fixed, to be flipped, did you bring it to Lyle's old shop, or did you bring it to the defendant's shop where Lyle was working?
I brought it to
That's very easy.
Lyle's old shop originally.
You brought it to Lyle's old shop in March.
Probably February, yeah. When I bought it.
Just a second. You know, now I'm not believing you. Do you know what I mean? You're getting uncomfortable with my questions.
Yes, ma'am.
You're getting uncomfortable. So let's go back. When you brought the old Mercedes in to be fixed for the purpose of flipping, did you bring it to Lyle's old shop where you had dealt with him previously, or did you bring it to the premises owned by the defendant where Lyle was now working?
I brought it originally to his shop, and then he brought it to their shop.
So is what you're telling me Lyle...
Correct.
Okay.
His location.
So, what?
His location.
You know, I'm not believing you. Do you know I'm not believing you? Because you're getting what I'm saying.
Yes, ma'am.
You're smart enough to get what I'm saying, but it's not going to help you.
Okay.
So if what you're telling me is that you brought it to a point in a parking lot that used to be Lyle's old shop and gave it to him, but the car was being taken to the defendant's shop, don't play cutesy with me. Yes. I don't like it.
All right.
Do you understand? You can smile all you like, sir. You have a great smile. It doesn't work with me. I'm old. I have a husband I'm used to. It doesn't work with me.
Yes, ma'am.
Great. So if what you're telling me is you dropped off your car with Lyle knowing that he was taking it to the defendant's shop, then that sounds credible. If what you're telling me is some cock and bull story that you dropped it off at his old place, but then he took it to their place and you didn't know about it, that I don't believe.
No, I did know.
All right. So then why did we have to spend this 5 minutes? Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
So what I'm gathering from your paperwork, your claim is when you dropped the car off in February or March, knowing that Lyle worked for them in their shop as a mechanic, he fixed the car for free in exchange for you loaning his girlfriend or his sister or somebody else a car for the 4 months that it was going to take to fix the car. Now, you didn't discuss that with them.
I did.
All right. In what month did you discuss that, and with which Mr. Bloom?
With Jeff.
Jeff
is the owner.
Okay.
And I had told him that I have 4 or 5 other cars. I want to give him business, but this deal was between me and Lyle.
I just want...
Sorry.
I want to know when you told him that.
Shortly after Lyle moved in, probably in late May.
No, Lyle moved in. You said you gave Lyle your car in February or March.
Correct, but he was actually living at that shop for about a year, intermittently, or a month, sorry.
Yes.
From...
You understand that this is not going well for you.
Yes, ma'am.
If you gave him the car in February or March, is what you're telling me that the car sat at their shop from February or March until May before you had this conversation with them? That's what you just told me. That's on tape.
Yes, pretty much.
Okay.
I mean, I had conversations with Jeff.
That you can't do. It would be as if I went into Taylor or one of the big shops and I went up to the handbag department and I saw a really nice Nancy Gonzalez bag that I liked. And I said to the salesperson, I really love that bag. and I'm a good customer. I come in and buy presents all the time. But I want you to give me that bag, and in exchange, you and your sister and your mother and your favorite 2 nieces can come for a taping of Judge Judy and have lunch with my crew. And she said, oh, that's fine. I'm going to take the bag. I got the tickets. They came and they had crew lunch. And all of a sudden, Neiman Marcus says, I'm missing a Nancy Gonzalez bag. And you say, you know what? I'm a really good customer. I'm going to spend thousands of dollars in your store on pocketbooks. This one's a freebie. That's what you did.
Yes, ma'am.
That's what you did. And, Mr. Pearl, it was sneaky, and you shouldn't have done it. That's all. So that what happened was, according to the papers that I'm reading, then you go to get your car.
Correct.
And it's had a couple of $1,000s worth of repair on it. And for whatever reason, they've already fired Lyle because maybe he made this arrangement with other people, too. Who knows what he did? I don't know why they let him go. But by the time you went to get your car, Lyle is no longer employed there. That if you say, I'm not paying my bill, my car's for free. I already gave you the crew tickets, and you already got to see a taping of Judge Judy. So you already got the benefit of the deal, or Lyle did. I want my car. And that's when the fight was on. So there was a fight, and a pushing, and a shove.
There was not pushing, ma'am. That was...
Fine. So somebody came in.
I was arguing with Jeff, the owner, outside, and that's when Ed comes out with a pipe and says, leave my dad alone. And I turned to Ed and I said, Ed, we're old men. We're arguing about $300. We're not going to come to blows. Stay out of it. And he was yelling at Ed to stay out of it. And so I come back to Jeff, arguing with him, and next thing you know, I'm on the ground.
Just a second. You're on the ground. You're on the ground because the son hit you with the pipe.
No, he pushed me. Him and Sean pushed me down, and I hit my shoulder on the fence, and I have a picture of that.
Just a second. So nobody hit you with a pipe?
No.
That's good. So he pushed you down along with somebody else?
Correct.
Another person who works there?
Yes.
Now I'd like to see the medical report that you have of your injury.
Yes, ma'am. This is the original Dr. Bill from...
No, I don't want a Dr. Bill. I want a medical report of your injury, not a Dr. Bill.
Okay, here's the physical therapy that resulted after.
Okay, and that's a report, not a bill.
Correct.
Okay, good. Okay, so you had a swelling, they gave you an ice pack. That's what it says here.
Yeah.
Referral to Laguna Rehabilitation Center. When you thought that there was a lot of insurance, okay?
They also said contusion. I'm sorry.
Mr. Pearl, so that was on June 29th. So the next day you went to the medical group.
Correct.
What's the name of the attorney you contacted?
Eric, but I just contacted him for advice.
Just a second. How did I know that? You think I'm stupid?
No.
Do you think a man like you goes to all this therapeutic exercise nonsense unless an attorney tells him to do it? Do you think that I believe that?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
To subrogate the situation, Lyle offered to have his girlfriend buy the car, and that's when I sold it to them for basically less than I paid. I lost money on that car.
Who cares? That's what happens when you're a hustler.
I'm trying to make a living, Your Honor.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Lawrence Pearl says auto shop owner Jeff Bloom and his son Ed kicked his car for services, storage, and assault.
Now, nobody who looks like you goes to all this therapy, seven therapeutic activities, $45, $100, $145. Look at these pages. Because you fell on the ground and somebody gave you an ice pack.
That's not
unless you spoke to a lawyer. Okay, very good.
Can I continue, Your Honor? There's more.
You got your car back.
After a few days.
Just a second.
I got up, and they were all yelling at me to get off their property, so I went to get into my Beamer, and Ed kicked the door onto my leg, causing major problems with my knees.
Just a second. Now I'd like to see the damage to your leg.
All right. There's both my shoulder and my knee.
Okay, so you had a scraped knee and you had a black and blue mark on your shoulder. Next!
My knee was swelled like on my head.
Next.
Okay, so I drove away and I was contacted
in your car.
by
Just a second. You drove away. Somebody has assaulted you.
Correct. I called the police.
And, just a second, police report. And then, did you wait for the police to come?
No, I actually went to the police department.
Oh. How far is the police?
Jeff and tried to make arrangements to get my car and told him that this is
from the police
not acceptable.
Department?
Correct.
Then where did you go from there?
I wanted to get my car. I wanted my door fixed. I wanted...
Just a second. Where did you go from the police department?
I went home.
When did you go back to get your car? On what date?
I didn't do it. Lyle got it about 10 days later. I wanted nothing to do with them. And then I made request to Jeff to take care of my medical bills, and then I sent him an email about a week later and said, you know what, if you just pay for my Beamer, I'll be fine. And then my knee got worse, and that's when I started therapy, and I contacted him again, and I said, I need you to make a deal with me, either pay me for the Beamer and pay me for my injuries, or I'm going to sue you. And it never happened.
Mr. Pearl, maybe we're not understanding each other. Maybe we're speaking on different planes.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
When he got into his car, did you shut the door on him?
The door did close.
So you shut the door.
Yes, ma'am.
With his foot. Here's the picture.
It's just getting lower and lower. The number that I'm even contemplating is getting lower and lower and lower.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Lawrence Pearl claims auto shop owner Jeff Carr and assaulted him during an argument at their shop.
Now, you brought your car, the Mercedes, in to be fixed because you couldn't sell it the way it was. I assumed it had mechanical problems. Is that correct?
Fender, hood, and frame.
So it had physical damage to the frame. It had been in an accident.
Correct.
When you picked up the car, I'd like to see what it looked like.
I don't have that.
That's too bad. 2 weeks later, when Lyle returned it to you, was the fender hood fixed?
It was fixed subpar.
Okay. All very, very unfortunate. Did you, when he got into his car, did you shut the door on him?
The door did close.
Just a second.
Yes.
That's a lie, Your Honor.
So you shut the door on him?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
With his foot. Here's the picture.
It's just getting lower and lower. The number that I'm even contemplating, which is low as it is getting lower and lower and lower. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
What you did was the wrong thing to start with. You tried to hustle them with Lyle and took the pocketbook, got the benefit of the pocketbook, and you brought in a wreck. The car was fixed to make it saleable if it had damage to the hood, and then now, so was it fixed? Yeah, but subpar.
So in order to subligate the situation, Lyle offered to have his girlfriend buy less than I paid. I lost money on that car.
Who cares? That's what happens when you're a hustler.
I'm trying to make a living, Your Honor.
You know, everybody is trying to make a living. You can either make a living by screwing people or you can make a living by being honest. And in this particular situation, you were bartering with a salesperson from Neiman's. You weren't bartering with Mr. Neiman. You weren't offering them any benefit from your transaction. You were offering Lyle, so it wasn't costing you any money.
Jeff knew exactly what was going on with other cars, and I was paying them. I paid them on the truck. I paid them way too much on the Mercedes. That was never done right. And the bottom line is they made a deal, and I was going to pay him, and I told him I was going to pay him for everything else. And he knew that that car was there for months, and I was bringing parts, and he was complaining about that, but I told him that it's going to be done. And when I finally got all the parts, Lyle did it.
Okay, now I'm finished with him. If he interrupts again during the course of the proceeding, then I'm going to just dismiss his case.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Are you the victim of an assault? Go to judgejudy.com, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter.
Now, take your hands out of your pockets, Mr. Bloom, and just tell me, do you have a printout of what work was done?
Yes, I do.
On
I object to it.
Okay, so you had frame setup, pull core support, install front bumper, install both front headlights, paint front bumper, and install a grille. Now, when the car was picked up, who picked it up?
Lyle.
And you let him get it?
I let him get it,
That was an arrangement with the police?
No.
You just let him get it.
That was an arrangement with the plaintiff. They had talked about just giving him his car due to the fact that he was complaining about
injuries.
All these other things, yes, ma'am.
No, injuries. He was complaining about injuries, and you said you were going to give him the car.
That's what my dad said, yes.
Okay. Now, Mr. Pearl, what did you say to Mr. Bloom in order to get him to release this car that he did a couple of $1,000s worth of work on?
Well,
what did you say?
I had damages to the Beamer of over $1,000, and I had injuries.
Just a second.
I wanted my car back.
Just a second. So, is what you're telling me, Mr. Pearl, that you said to him, I have my injuries and there was damage to the Beamer as a result of being slammed or hit or whatever it was, just give me my car back. Is that what you said to him?
That's what I said.
Great. And you got your car back?
The Mercedes, yes.
Yes, your case is dismissed. So your counterclaim, we're done.
He kicked my BMW into the... I have evidence. I have all the text just from...
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
He came all hot-headed.
That's a lie.
Pushing his finger and grabbing me.
We were just arguing about $300.
And my son was just defending.
When this guy comes out of nowhere and pushes me down.
I just can't let anybody touch my dad and, you know.
They pushed me down. They assaulted me.
After you touch and push someone, punches end up happening afterwards, and...
They wrecked my Beamer. He kicked my door onto my knee.
You can't walk into our shop telling us, give me my car.
I didn't press charges because I promised them not to press charges.
After we've done work on it.
Because they were going to pay for my Beamer to be fixed.
Insisting on it's your way or the highway.
And they were going to pay for my damages, and they lied.
I don't want anybody to get hurt. I don't want anything like that, so, you know, best wishes.
This is not the Wild West. You don't come with people at a pipe with a pipe just because they don't pay your bill.
I hope not. Never to see him again.
The mauling.
Her dog began attacking my dog.
It's not true.
Excuse me, her dog had my dog in the air and was violently shaking her. It was the most traumatic thing I've ever seen.
The warning signs?
Your dog has had a history of violent behavior, which mandated your dog to be muzzled at all times.
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Shiloh Fry is suing fellow dog owner Evelyn Homsey for vet bills and medical bills and punitive damages for filing a false police report.
Order. All rise.
It's case number 301 on the calendar in the matter of Fry versus Homsey.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Gentlemen, have a seat, please.
Ms. Fry, it is your claim that the defendant's dog injured both you and your dog. The defendant's response indicates that the incident was your fault. You didn't have control over your dog, and she's countersuing for harassment, claiming that after this incident, you did, in fact, harass her. Ms. Homsey, on the date of this incident, which was the 25th of July of this year, what were you doing in the animal control clinic?
I was taking my dog Roscoe for vaccination. Boxer mix.
Did they do just vaccinations there, or is it a clinic?
No, they kicked me out of the clinic. They said that they're not going to help me at all because Miss Fry's dog bit my dog first.
No. You're getting into a whole story. I asked you a question.
Yes,
I said, does the clinic also treat dogs, or does it just give vaccinations?
I was told they only give vaccinations.
And what were you doing there, Miss Fry?
I was also there getting my dog vaccinated as well.
And what kind of dog do you have?
I have a 15-pound puggle.
And how much does your dog weigh?
80 pounds.
Do you have a picture of both dogs? I'd
Yes,
like
Your
to see
Honor.
them.
These are the photos of the injuries to my dogs as well. Is this your dog?
Yes, Your Honor.
It doesn't look like a boxer.
When I adopted him, I was told on his document he's a boxer mix.
Doesn't look like a boxer. I don't know what it looks like. It doesn't look like a boxer. To me, it has a long nose.
He's a mix. Boxer mix.
I know. I don't know where he's a boxer. Maybe on his left paw. Now, when you went into the clinic, was your dog on a leash?
She was. She had a harness, and a leash was secured to the harness. small facility.
Okay, that's the answer to my question.
Thank you.
Your dog was on a leash.
Yes, ma'am.
And Miss Holmesy, was your dog on a leash?
Yes, on a short leash, ma'am.
Okay. So why don't you tell me what happened?
I entered the room with my 3-year-old son and my dog. I approached the counter to my right. It's a very small facility, so when I approach to the right, there's a chair directly behind me, a wall directly on the right side of me, and then the employee helping me. As I was attempting to sign in, Ms. Holmesy's dog approached me from the left side.
Was she already there when you were there?
She was standing on the left of the counter, yes, at the far end, about a little more than arm's length away from me.
Okay.
Her dog came up almost immediately. I didn't ever even sign in.
Not true.
Her dog came up behind me, forced its way between my legs, and began attacking my dog. I was knocked backward.
Please state the facts. It's not true.
Excuse me, I'm speaking. Thank you.
I don't want to hear you until I look at you.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor. I fell backward. Her dog continued to pursue my dog, eventually catching her again, grabbing her by her back and her shoulder area. When I looked over, her dog had my dog in the air and was violently shaking her. It was the most traumatic thing I've ever seen. The only thing I could think was that my 3-year-old was watching. My dog stopped yelping at one point. I believed she was dead.
Took her to the vet. That's what the case was about.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Now, Ms. Holmesy, I read here that your dog has had a prior history of violent behavior, which mandated your dog to be muzzled at all times when out. Is that correct?
It's correct that he had a prior from
Just
adopting.
a second. So the answer is yes. He's supposed to be muzzled at all times when out.
Which he was, Your Honor.
Well, the operative word is operable muzzle. An operable muzzle would have prevented the injuries that I saw to her dog. So if the dog was muzzled, it wasn't muzzled operably. The muzzle didn't work. And if the muzzle didn't work, that's not the dog's fault. That's your fault. Now, the prior incident with your dog happened when?
When somebody else adopted
No.
him.
What year?
I don't know. I didn't have him when it happened.
So is what... You have it?
I have a copy of that incident report.
I'd like to see it. So what you're telling me, Miss Holmesy, is that you took this dog, you adopted this dog?
Yes, ma'am.
And you adopted a dog that you knew was required to be muzzled when out? I'm just trying to follow this. Is that what you're telling me? That's either a yes or a no.
No, Your
Is
Honor.
what you're telling me that you adopted a dog knowing that it had to be muzzled?
Can I explain, Your Honor? Do well in a setting of family with 5 kids
Don't
and
tell
3
me
dogs.
what they said. I want to know if you were aware of the fact...
I was not aware of that, Your Honor, when I adopted the dog.
Okay. Now, you adopted the dog when?
About 2.5 years ago.
I would like you to tell me under what circumstances you found out that the dog required a muzzle when out.
I just decided to put a muzzle on him because...
No, that's ridiculous. Don't
Yes.
give me that baloney.
No.
That's baloney.
I decided to keep him on a muzzle because I don't want anybody petting my dog.
That's baloney.
But that's the truth, Your Honor.
No, that's baloney. I'm 76 years old, and I've had probably 15 dogs in my lifetime. I never put a muzzle on my dog just in case.
Your Honor,
because that's stupid.
I have insurance background. I've seen a lot of claims. And due to that and stories...
Ms. Holmesy, that is so ridiculous. Are you telling me that your dog was ordered to be muzzled? You didn't know that when you adopted him, and
No, I
then
didn't.
later you just so happened to think, well, it's a good idea that I muzzle my dog. I just want to know if that's what you're asking this face to believe.
That's the truth, Your Honor.
Yeah, that's baloney. That's baloney, Ms.
Your
Holmesy.
Honor,
it's the truth.
I didn't ask anything, now I'm reading.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
That's baloney. Were you also bitten?
I was
Or
not.
is this the prior?
That's
2017.
right.
Oh, this is the prior incident.
Correct.
I see this was a prior incident, but it was a prior incident while you still own the dog.
Because the dog doesn't have that character, Your Honor.
Hey. I thought you told me that your dog had a prior incident before you adopted her. Well, this incident is dated March 23rd, 2017. I asked you when you adopted the dog. You said 2.5 years ago.
Exactly. I don't know about this incident. I haven't seen this paperwork. May I see it, please?
So
Sure.
there's another attack?
Sure. Sure you can.
Oh, okay. I remember this now. Yeah.
I'm glad you remember. Can I have it back, please?
Yeah.
Can I have
this
it
was
back?
a lady that assaulted my mom. when my mom had the
Don't tell me
dog.
about a lady assaulted your mom. I asked you whether the dog had bitten before. You said the dog bit before, but before I adopted her. And then I just decided to put a muzzle on him because I just thought I used to be in insurance, and I thought it would be a good idea to put a muzzle on the dog. This happened after you adopted him. All right. Very good. You're going to pay all of her bills, and your counterclaim's going to be dismissed
She
for
harassed me,
harassment.
came to my house.
I don't care.
Twice. She
I
came to
don't
my house,
care
Your Honor.
whether she
But
came to your
that's
house.
not right.
I don't care.
Her dog bit
to me. I don't care whether she came to your house to ask for money. Other
and
than
harassed
the fact
me, throwing rocks
are
on
you
me?
interrupting me?
No, ma'am.
So far, you lied to me at least twice. You lied to me that the dog had no history once you adopted it. That was clearly a lie, because the dog has bitten before. You lied to me when you said, well, I had no knowledge of that when I adopted the dog. I just decided to put a muzzle on my dog because, well, I'm in insurance, and just because, for no reason. All those things were not truthful. And if you choose to have a dog that bites, you have to pay for it. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,000. We're done.
That's not
Thank
right,
you.
Your Honor.
Thank
She
you,
came
Your Honor.
harassing me.
Counterclaim's dismissed. We're done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Totally traumatic. I thought that my dog had been killed and that her dog was about to start tearing her apart in front of my 3-year-old's eyes.
I hope that this will never happen to another person.
If you've ever been involved in a dog attack, it's the most powerless feeling.
And that she will cage her animal because he's little.
I just didn't feel like there was anything I could do.
And she needs to protect. She's the mama.
I am beyond thrilled. Justice has happened here today.
I'm just glad that all the dogs are okay.
I'm glad everybody's okay, and thank you to Judge Judy.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Moore
is suing former friend Randy Rooks for vet bills, medical bills, and lost wages after her pit bull attacked his dog.
Mr. Moore, it is your claim that the defendant's dog bit you and your dog, causing injury to both.
Yes,
You want
ma'am.
her to be responsible for your bills, for the dog's bills. And the defendant says that if you were bitten, it was your fault. If your dog was injured, it was also your fault. She's got a counterclaim. She says you've been harassing her and slandering her.
That's false, Your
So
Honor.
what I gather is that this incident occurred at the home of a mutual friend on the 19th of May of this year. Is that right?
The incident actually happened on the morning of May 20th, 2018. I arrived on the property May 19th.
You were staying over at a friend's home?
Yes, ma'am.
Was there a party?
There was a birthday party that weekend.
For whom?
One of the defendant's children.
Miss Rook's children.
That's what I believe, yes.
Miss Rooks, what was the celebration for?
Actually, my son's birthday party was prior to that. It wasn't
I'm
actually
just
that
asking you a question. It's not very germane to this case. It's not a big deal. What were you celebrating at this mutual friend's house?
We were celebrating them moving into their new home and helping them remodel and clean.
Okay.
And
so they were moving into a new place. And you brought with you how many children?
3 children, Your Honor.
How old? One that I would invite to my house if I were moving into a new place to bring the chaos of 3 children and a dog. The last one. Don't understand that. And what kind of a dog do you have?
She is a pit bull.
How old?
She is 5.
When did you get her?
When she was about 7 weeks old.
And what kind of a dog do you have?
She is a half healer, half Louisiana Catahoula. It's a swamp hunting dog.
I know what they are, actually. How old?
She just turned 10, Your Honor.
Now, these are 2 dogs that shouldn't be in the same house together. You do understand that?
Correct.
You understand your dog's breed, and you understand your dog's breed, so that they shouldn't be in the house together. So why didn't one or both of you just leave?
We had drove 2.5 hours to get there. It was quite a ways
but you're
away from our
there,
town.
and you know his dog, you know about your dog, and sense is if you're helping people move in to a house and you have 2 dogs that clearly are like the Hatfields and the McCoys, then you don't spend a weekend there. It's ridiculous. Never heard of 2 more
Your Honor.
people in my life. All right, let's go.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Your dog was 30 feet out of your control. If you thought 30 feet was a good lead, good for you. Evidently, it was too much of a lead because your dog injured him and injured his dog.
But, Your Honor, if a dog's on a lead, you're not...
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Michael Moore says his dog was viciously attacked by a pit bull owned by former friend Randy Rooks. Randy is countersuing for slander, lost wages, and harassment.
So you have 3 children and a pit bull. And your 3 children and a pit bull was staying where? In the house or outside the house?
We were, if you'd like, I could show you on the
Just tell me, were you staying in the house or outside the house?
In the art studio.
And where were you staying, sir?
I was staying in my tent in the backyard.
Okay. On the 20th, I want you to tell me what happened.
On the morning of May 20th, 2018, approximately 10 o'clock in the morning, I awoke from my tent with my dog.
You got up at 10 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah, I smelled breakfast.
You mean the person who was moving into the house and you were there to help was now cooking breakfast?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, go.
Slow. May I address the chart?
Absolutely.
So, when we got out of our tent, we started walking up towards the house, and we had passed by a large tree. And when we passed by that tree, her pit bull lashed out and attacked my dog. And at that point in time, the next 5 minutes was a horror show of her dog thrashing around my dog by the neck.
At the time in the art studio with your children?
No, I had helped, just gotten done finishing breakfast and walked upstairs to get dressed.
So you were in the main house?
We were actually outside cooking. We were camp cooking because their kitchen was being remodeled.
Go over and show me where you were cooking.
There's a porch right here. Excuse me. There's a porch right here, and we had a barbecue and a grill set up, and we were outside cooking. So we were all hanging out in this area, and my dog was right here, and obviously Mike was still sleeping when I went upstairs. So, and then I obviously was upstairs.
Is your dog chained to a tree?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that what it was? Step back. On how long a chain?
It was about 30 feet. It was a good lead. And there was also 2 entrances to the house. In fact,
I don't care
3.
whether there were 20 entrances to the house.
Okay.
Your dog was 30 feet out of your control. If you thought 30 feet was a good lead, good for you. Evidently, it was too much of a lead because your dog injured him and injured his dog.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
My counterclaim is about them stalking, or excuse me, Michael Moore showing up at a massage event that I had, and they showed up prior to me showing up and came inside and were asking the coffee barista when I was going to be there.
So what do you think he came to this job site to do?
Judge Judy.
Michael Moore says his dog was viciously attacked by a pit bull owned by former friend Randy Rooks. Randy is countersuing for slander, lost wages, and harassment.
If you thought 30 feet was a good lead, good for you. Evidently, it was too much of a lead because your dog injured him and injured his dog.
But, Your Honor, if a dog's on a lead, you're not supposed to go in that area. She was on a lead because they didn't get along. I was doing everything in my power to make sure my dog was safe.
Then you keep the dog on a leash with you cooking, with your spatula or your 13-year-old, but you don't put your pit bull on a 30-foot lead around a whole bunch of people, and if trouble happens, you're responsible. If it's all good, terrific. Listen, you choose to get that breed of dog, madam. May I see your vet bills, please? May I see your vet bills, please?
Yes.
When did you present her with the vet bills?
The vet bills were actually presented by the property owner, which they paid, and I have since then paid them back.
They were paid by which property owner?
The property owner of that property.
So they paid all your bills?
They paid the vet bill only, and I paid them back in cash and labor.
I don't, forget that. If they paid the vet bill, I'm not paying you. Do you understand it was paid? And this is on the 20th. This is your patient history, Mike Moore. I don't see a bill for your medical treatment.
My medical treatment's right here, Your Honor.
What do you do for a living, Mr. Moore?
I'm a professional landscaper.
Do you work for your own company or you work for someone else?
I work for someone else.
Full-time or part-time?
Full-time.
They give you medical insurance?
Yes, ma'am.
So you have medical insurance to cover your medical bills?
Yes.
So you have no vet bills and you have no medical bills?
The insurance has been taken out. What my medical bills are there or what I still owe out of pocket.
Were you in the hospital overnight, sir?
No, just for the afternoon. I did have to go back in and have surgery done on my finger, which also was just an afternoon in and out procedure.
Got it. You got 30 seconds to tell me about your counterclaim.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
You got 30 seconds to tell me about your counterclaim.
My counterclaim is about them Michael Moore showing up at a massage event that I had going on at North End Nursery that they found out about via Facebook, even though I had blocked him. And they showed up prior to me showing up and came inside and were asking the coffee barista when I was going to be there. And she called me and asked me and told me that they're waiting there for me. And when I got there, I had passed by originally to go up to my office to grab my face cradle and my lotion. And I had seen the two gentlemen.
Date?
That was June 10th.
So what do you think he came to this job site to do?
They came to ask me to pay them back.
Okay. So they came and you said...
Well, I had already stopped talking to them because they've been reaching out to me, asking me to put my dog down and stuff like that.
Okay.
So I stopped talking to them.
I want to know what effort, because you were actually there and you saw that he was injured and you saw his dog was severely injured. What did you do to reach out to him to say to him, listen, whatever your out-of-pocket expenses are, I'll be more than happy to cover it. I'm really sorry that this happened. Did you do anything, or you just did nothing and waited for him to come to you?
I didn't just do nothing. I was definitely proactive about talking to them and asking him how he was. But what I'm getting at is how I was asked to pay back the portion of his medical bills is Eric was going to add it on to my business.
I don't care what he was going to do. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. Your counterclaim's dismissed. We're done. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
A bicycle's unfortunate meeting with an SUV.
She ran into me, which took my front tire under her car and slammed me to the side.
Next.
You don't stick your hand into a dog fight.
I ended up injured.
You know, and if my dog was on a chain, then I should not have been liable for what happened.
It was traumatic, but
Don't walk by a dog that you know doesn't